A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. After a shattering interview with Larry, who is awaiting trial in the New York City jail for the murder of Oliver Wilson, Mary is back in her hotel room near the theater district. And with her is her close friend, Maud Marlowe, who says,
"My dear child, you look positively ghastly. You'd better start taking care of yourself, or you'll collapse before Larry comes to trial."
The way he feels about me, it's the best thing that could happen, Maud.
Oh, nonsense. You know very well how important it is for you to stand by him through the ordeal of his trial.
Of course I know. All I want to do is help Larry. And he just turns against me. He makes a fool out of me in front of Claudia Vincent.
Now, what do you mean by that?
This afternoon I went to visit Larry at the jail. And she was there, done up in veils like Mata Hari. And she was simply horrible, insulted me to my face. And when I tried to tell her straight out what I knew, Larry turned on me in a fury and made me stop.
But, my dear Mary, you should have known better than to talk against Claudia to Larry. Especially right now when he believes she's going to be his most valuable witness at his trial.
Valuable witness? Claudia Vincent is trying to keep out of trouble by pretending to help Larry. And all the time she's the one who ought to be on trial.
You said that before, Mary. And it's only natural for you to think so. But it's not good to go further than that with no evidence.
But I have evidence, Maud. I know now that it was Claudia who put that rope around Oliver Wilson's neck.
Now, just a minute, Mary. Try to be sensible. Have you any way of proving that?
Victor told me the whole story.
But, Victor? You mean to tell me you did go to meet that wretched creature after all?
I had to find out what he knew. Victor was backstage the night of the murder and said he had important information to give me. I had to go no matter what you said. And I'm glad I did.
Well, I suppose he told you something that will help.
I hope so. If only I can verify it.
Well, and just what is this important information?
He told me that he saw Claudia put that rope around Oliver Wilson's neck and pull him up into the wings by the counterweights. She came up to him while he had his back turned for a moment. Victor saw the whole thing.
Well, and he's kept silent all this time. I suppose now he'll take the stand and testify.
Oh, no, that's the awful part of it. I had to promise not to involve him.
If you find him useful, have him brought to court and make him testify.
But he wouldn't do it, Maud, don't you see? If I did that to him, he'd simply lie about the whole story. Larry would be worse off than ever.
Oh, then I don't see how any of this helps at all. In fact, I don't see how you have any reason to believe Victor's story.
But I do believe it. Because I know in my heart that Claudia killed Oliver. I know that she was enraged when she found out she'd thrown away her big chance in the theater to elope with a penniless fortune hunter like Oliver. Oh, if only I can find some way of proving it. And I mean to try, Maud. I'm not going to leave a single stone unturned if I can help it. Larry may never want to come back to me, even if he is acquitted. But I'm going to stand by him and fight for him, with every ounce of strength in my body.
And at the same time, Larry is talking to his lawyer, Hubert Savage, in the visiting room at the jail. And we hear...
Just 2 days till the opening of the trial, Mr. Noble. I hope you're still keeping up your nerve and that fighting spirit.
Don't you worry about that, Mr. Savage. I'm going to be all right. Just you keep an eye on Mary, will you? She's getting hysterical. I don't know what she's liable to do next.
What do you mean?
She's so dead set against Claudia Vincent that she can't seem to understand how valuable Claudia's testimony is going to be to my case. We met here yesterday, quite by accident. We had a fearful row. I don't want Claudia to get angry. She might change her mind about helping me.
Yes, she may. And right now, Miss Vincent is our most important witness, even though she is being difficult about telling me exactly what information she has to offer.
You're keeping a guard close by, aren't you, Mr. Savage?
Oh, yes. Miss Vincent is under 24-hour surveillance. when she goes out and even when she's at Mr. Jordan's apartment, which he so kindly turned over to her.
That's good. Les Jordan's been a real friend through all this mess.
I have an idea Mr. Jordan doesn't object too much to Miss Vincent being more or less in his custody, Mr. Noble.
Really? You think Les is developing a romantic side? Well, what do you know?
Would you object to his showing an interest in Miss Vincent?
Me? Of course not. Why should I? Look here, Mr. Savage. Are you still uncertain about the extent of my feeling for Claudia Vincent before this murder happened? Do you still think that perhaps I might have been so crazy about her that I killed young Wilson in a flash of jealous rage?
Mr. Noble, you have never, in so many words, denied your infatuation for Miss Vincent.
No. And let me tell you, Mr. Savage, I don't deny it now. I don't deny or affirm it. But I did not kill Oliver Wilson. You understand? I didn't touch the man.
An early evening of this same day, Mary suddenly appears at the door of Lester Jordan's apartment. And after ringing the bell, she says to herself,
Maybe I'm a fool to do this. There's no more time to lose. I'm going to have a showdown. Hello, Lester. May I come in?
Mary Noble. Well, you're the last person I expected to see. Well, come in, of course. Come right in and sit down.
I came to talk to Claudia Vincent. Is she here?
Oh, you bet. She's inside. I just dropped over from the Green Room Club. Been staying there since Claudia moved in. May I take your coat?
I'll just leave it here if that's all right.
Oh, sure thing. That is, you two won't...
It's quite all right, Lester. I'm sure Claudia knows why I'm here.
Oh, well, in that case... Oh, please come inside. Claudia, it's Mary Noble. She just dropped in.
Well, isn't that just lovely? What a real surprise. Are you checking over your husband's witnesses, dear, or what?
I thought it might help if we had a talk, Claudia.
Really? I doubt if much can be gained by it, judging by past performances.
Well, can't I get us all something to drink?
Not for me, thanks.
I still have mine, dear.
A cigarette, Mary?
No, thank you.
Well, all right.
You know, you look rather like Carrie Nation sitting there, Mary. I expect any minute to have you bring out a hatchet and start chopping the place to bits.
My purpose is considerably simpler than that, Claudia. I want to know just what it is you intend to say on the witness stand.
And what makes you think I'd tell you?
I think you'd better tell me.
Really? Why?
Because I have some interesting testimony of my own to give if you don't. And I doubt if you'll care much about it.
Now, just a minute.
Be still, Lester. Let's get to the bottom of this. I don't like these roundabout insinuations.
I'm not insinuating anything, Claudia. I'm telling you that you'd better live up to your promise to win Larry an acquittal. Or you may find yourself more deeply involved than you realize.
Don't you try to threaten me, Mary Noble. I know that when I finish testifying, no jury would find him guilty.
And I want to know what you mean by that. What is it you can say that will acquit Larry? Are you going to confess your own guilt?
Of murder? Hardly. Although I am forced to stir up ugly rumors. No, there's no other way.
Suppose you stop beating about the bush and tell me what you mean.
All right, Mary, you ask for it, and I'm going to tell you. I can prove that Larry couldn't have murdered Oliver Wilson.
How?
Because at the time that Oliver was killed, at the time that he was having a rope put around his throat and hauled up into the wings, Larry was with me. He was in my dressing room with the door locked, and the key was in his pocket.
Well, look here.
Let me finish, Lester. I repeat, Larry Noble was with me. All the time that you were looking for him, calling out to him, he was in my dressing room. He came there and locked the door. And then he told me that he wouldn't open it up until I promised to run off with him. He was crazy with jealousy because he'd found out that I'd eloped with Oliver. And he swore that he wouldn't let either of us out of that room until I'd agreed to leave with him. I tried to reason with him. It was no use. He took me in his arms and he held me there, repeating over and over that he couldn't live without me. It wasn't until after we heard your piercing scream that Larry opened the door. We both came out. That's when we knew someone had murdered Oliver. And that's how I can prove that it was not your husband.
Great guns, Claudia. That story's packed with dynamite.
I know. That's why I refused to tell anyone what I proposed to say on the stand. I knew that there would be fireworks.
Well, does Larry know what you're going to say?
Well, of course. He's the only one who does. And he's willing to have me testify no matter what happens.
Claudia, that's a lie. The whole thing is a monstrous lie. You weren't locked into your dressing room with Larry. You've made the whole thing up.
And why would I want to do that?
To protect yourself. Because you know very well that you're the one who killed Oliver. You're trying to save yourself by telling lies about Larry.
You don't want to face the truth, Mary, because it shows just how little you've meant to your precious husband. Because it proves to the whole world that he turned away from you and to me long before this happened. No, you don't want to face this humiliation. Not until you've safely landed Rupert Barlow. You'd rather have your husband pronounced guilty of murder than admit to the world that he was faithless to you. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Mary is white with anger as Claudia Vincent hurls ugly words at her. But she knows it's useless to protest unless she can unearth some vital scrap of evidence within the next 24 hours. Well, be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, after a hard day's work, there's nothing more welcome than an evening of variety entertainment. That's just the tonic provided tomorrow night by NBC Radio. You'll laugh your cares away when good-natured contestants carry out the rib-tickling stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey on NBC's Truth or Consequences. Later on, Groucho Marx peps things up with lots of spontaneous good fun and more of the friendly insults at which he is so accomplished. For a brighter, livelier evening tomorrow night, it's Groucho Marx and Truth or Consequences on this station. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Bad Medicine by Finn O'Donovan. But first, farmers know they can't stop storms, floods, or droughts from ruining a crop. But they can make sure things like that can't ruin them by investing in United States savings bonds. Not only farmers, but over 40 million Americans in all sorts of jobs own 40 billions of savings bonds. And why? Because savings bonds are the easy way to start saving and to keep saving. And the money you invest in savings bonds mean protection now and ready cash when you need it in the future. Improving the farm, sending the youngsters to college, or planning your own retirement. These are the big things you can be ready for with savings bonds. And besides offering you a safe investment, each Series E savings bond pays you back $4 at maturity for every 3 you invest. Yes, you earn extra dollars while you save, so start saving now. For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds. And now, on with our story.
On May 2nd, 2103, Elwood Caswell walked rapidly down Broadway. It was a gentle, misty spring day, and the air held the smell of rain and blossoming trees. But Elwood Caswell didn't smell the rain and the trees. He just gripped the loaded gun he had in his pocket. He didn't want to use the weapon, but he was certain that he would. This was justifiable. You see, Elwood Caswell was a homicidal maniac.
Why shouldn't I kill him?
Hey, look out, will you?
Oh, sorry, sir. Only the other day he said to me, Elwood, you're looking very well. What business is it of his how I look?
Hey there, Elwood. Elwood.
Huh?
It's me, Marty Klein.
I work on the jet buses with you, remember?
Oh, yeah, of course. Hello, Marty. Forgive me, my mind was on other things.
Yeah, I know how it is. A couple of weeks ago, I was walking around a fog so thick you could cut it.
Yeah, really?
Sure, preoccupied, you know. I had this idea in my mind.
You too?
Yeah.
The same person?
Huh?
Were you troubled by the same person?
My wife. Hey, you okay?
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course.
Well, I had this idea, see? I was going to get rid of my wife.
Kill her?
Kill her? I mean, send her to a country for a week.
Oh.
You sure you ain't sick?
No, I never felt better.
Well, anyway, I was going to take a week off. Quit the jet buses. Hey, can you imagine? I've been a jet bus operator for 10 years now, and all of a sudden, I feel like I can't take it for another minute.
I know how you feel.
And I was going to take a trip all by myself.
A trip?
To where? To the farthest place I could think, to Mars. I was just going to pick up and take a vacation on Mars. Silly, huh?
I don't know. What happened?
Well, I talked it over with Ethel.
Your wife?
Yeah. Ethel, she's a real sensible girl. You know what she did?
No, am I supposed to?
Well, Ethel went right down to that home therapy appliance store, and she says, "You got a home therapy machine that'll cure my husband of this idea he can't stay on the jet buses?"
I've heard that those machines aren't perfected.
They got him licked now. So, okay, she describes the trouble, and next day they deliver this thing, and boom, I plug it in, see, and a voice talks to me. It starts asking me questions.
Yeah, what kind of questions?
All kinds. Things I wouldn't even tell my own mother.
You told the machine?
Why not? It's only a machine.
Yeah, I see your point.
Well, then the machine starts to tell me a few things. And before I knew it, inside a week, I'm cured. Now, I can't wait to go back driving the jet buses.
You don't say.
So that's why I say I know how it is to have one thing on your mind all the time like that.
This machine, what did it cost you?
That's the beauty part of it. My Ethel. Boy, she's a smart girl. After a week, she sends it back, see? She says it don't work. So all we lose is the deposit.
I see.
Well, I gotta get back to work now. Hey, ain't you working the jet buses today?
Huh? No, I'm off today.
Well, I'll see you, Elwood.
Yeah, see you, Marty. What was the name of that place?
Where they sell the home therapy machines.
Yeah.
Home therapy appliances. It's right down Broadway, about 2 blocks from here. So long, Elwood.
Perspiring freely, Elwood Caswell continued down Broadway toward 43rd Street. His friend Magnuson would be finishing work soon, returning to his apartment less than a block from Caswell's. Elwood gripped the gun tighter. How pleasant it would be to saunter in, exchange a word with him, and then...
No, I won't do it. I don't really want to kill anybody. It isn't right. Think what'll happen. The authorities will lock me up. My friends won't understand, and... Mother would never approve. Still, if I see Magnuson, if I see his hateful, accusing face in front of me... Oh, this must be the store. Yeah. Home therapy appliances.
Good afternoon, sir. Can I show you some of our home therapy appliances?
I want therapy.
Quick. Of course, sir. This way, please. Now then, this is our new alcoholic reliever built by International Combustion Motors and advertised in leading magazines. A handsome piece of furniture. I think you will agree, and not out of place in any home. It also opens into a television set.
Look, what I need...
Therapy, of course. I just want to point out this model need never cause embarrassment to you, your friends, or your loved ones. Notice, if you will, the recessed dial which controls the desired degree of alcoholism. You see, heavy, moderate, social, light, and teetotal. A new feature unique in mechanotherapy.
I'm not alcoholic. The New York Jet Bus Authority does not hire alcoholics.
Oh, sorry. You seem the type. No offense.
Please.
You seem rather nervous. Perhaps the portable anxiety reducer.
No.
Well, sir, perhaps if you told me just what you feel is bothering you.
What have you got for homicidal mania?
I beg your pardon?
Homicide. The urge to kill someone.
Oh, of course. Well, let's see now.
Pardon me. Have you worked here very long?
A week. Oh, yes, here's the ticket. This black job with the chrome trim.
What is it?
This, is a Rex regenerator, built by Planetary Motors Corporation. Handsome, Goes with any decor. Opens into a well-stocked little bar, so your family, friends, loved ones need never...
Well, is your homicidal urge a strong one?
Oh, absolutely. Don't confuse this with the little 10-amp Neurosis model. This is a hefty, heavy-duty 25-amp machine for really deep-rooted conditions.
That's what I've got.
Well, this baby will jolt you out of it. Big, heavy-duty thrust bearings, oversized heat absorbers, completely insulated, sensitivity range
I'll
over...
take it.
Yes, sir.
With me, right now.
Now?
Before it's too late. I'll pay cash.
Well, yes, sir. It'll be a few hours before the warehouse can...
I'll take this one here.
Well, that's a floor demonstrator.
Does it work?
All of our demonstrators work.
Then I'll take it. I can't wait for a warehouse. I can't wait for anything. Have it put in a taxi for me.
Yes, sir.
Tell him to hurry. I want to kill my friend Magnuson, you know.
Who?
My friend, Magnuson.
Oh, of course. That'll be $400.59, sales tax included.
After Elwood Caswell left the store, the clerk, whose name was Haskins, smiled to himself and lighted a cigarette. He had made his first sale. He inhaled.
Haskins?
Yes, Mr. Follansby?
Smoking. I asked you to rid yourself of that filthy habit.
Immediately, Mr. Follansby. I'll use one of the display model denicotinizers at once. By the way, I just made a rather good sale, sir.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. One of our big Rex regenerators.
Well, now, it isn't often we... Wait a minute. Where's the floor model?
Well, sir, the customer was in an awful hurry. He was going to kill his friend.
You gave him the floor model?
Yes, sir. Was there any reason why...
Oh, grief, Haskins. Didn't I inform you we never sell a floor model?
But, sir...
Good heavens, I've got to get to him. What was his address?
Address?
His name, then.
Well, he didn't say.
Then his check.
But he paid cash.
You mean you just let him pick up the machine and walk out?
Well, sir, he paid cash.
He was homicidal, you say?
Yes, sir. His friend...
I don't care about his friend. Get the police. No. Call the Planetary Motor Security Division. Quick.
Yes, at once.
Well.
Excuse me, Mr. Follansby. What will I tell them?
Just tell them, you fool. Tell them that one of our customers has accidentally got that display regenerator they sent us. The one they shipped by accident. They were going to replace it tomorrow.
Yes, sir. The one they shipped by accident. Will they know?
If they don't be more explicit, tell them we've sold the Martian model. The one for treating psychotic Martians.
Meanwhile, Elwood Caswell had returned to his apartment and lugged the big black Rex regenerator into his living room. He put it down near the couch and studied it carefully.
He was right. It does go with the room. Now then, let's see those instructions. Place regenerator near a comfortable couch. All right. Plug in machine. There. Affix contact band to your forehead. That's all there is to it. Just turn on the machine and it will do the rest. There will be no language problem since your regenerator communicates with you by direct sensory contact, patent pending. Well, it seems easy enough. Now, I'll just put the contact on my head. And... blast it. Hello?
Elwood?
Yes?
This is Henry. Henry Magnuson. How are you, old boy?
I'm fine.
I wondered if you were doing anything tonight. Thought you might like to drop over for a game of chess.
Game of chess, huh? You stupid oaf.
What?
Nothing.
I thought you called me a stupid oaf.
Just talking to my cat.
Oh. I didn't remember you had a cat. I thought you hated cats.
Oh, I do. This isn't really mine. It's a neighbor's. It keeps coming in.
Oh. What about tonight?
Will you be alone?
Well, yeah.
You haven't mentioned to anyone that you're inviting me over?
Not a soul. Why?
Someone's looking for me, a process server.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been avoiding him for days. I don't even leave word where I'll be when I go out.
You can trust me, Elwood. I'm your best friend.
Yes, you are. But not for long.
Huh?
Just talking to the cat again.
Oh. Well, will you be over?
Yeah.
In about an hour, okay?
Yeah, an hour will be fine. There are a few things I have to do
first.
first.
I've just gotten some new laugh records from the boys at the office. I got something here that'll really kill you. So long, Elwood.
So long. I've got something here that'll kill you, too.
X-1 will continue in 1 minute.
Each of us has a personal reason for wanting to see cancer conquered. Steve Allen would like to tell you his.
I have a wife and 3 wonderful kids. And when I think about cancer going to strike one American in every 4. Well, that's more than enough reason for wanting to see it conquered. I know that some people don't even want to think about cancer, but pretending it's not a threat, doing an ostrich routine, isn't going to get us anywhere. We've got to stand up to it and fight. We can fight, each and every one of us. Through the American Cancer Society, we can be part of the battle that someday will beat cancer once and for all. That day will come, but you and I have got to help. How about it?
Thank you, Steve Allen. Remember, fight cancer with a checkup and a check. See your doctor once a year for a checkup. It's your best cancer insurance. And to help conquer cancer, send a check to your unit of the American Cancer Society. Make it generous.
And now, on with our story.
Taking the revolver from his pocket, Elwood laid it on the table in front of him. His face became suffused with hatred at the thought of Magnuson. He poked at the gun with a stiff forefinger.
Magnuson, you no-good, shifty-eyed enemy of all that's decent in the world. The man who ruined my sister Irene. The man who... Wait a minute, Elwood. You have no sister, remember? No sister. Now, before you go off and commit murder, why not just try that machine just once, huh? Turn it on. Okay, now reach over and...
Good afternoon, Elwood. I am your mechanical therapist. You may call me Gloop.
Gloop?
You seem surprised. It is a perfectly common name here on this planet.
Gloop, of course. I've heard it many times.
Now then, I am scanning the material in your preconscious with the intent of synthesis, diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment.
Yes?
I find... This is a most unusual case.
Really? I thought it was simple homicidal mania.
There is, of course, no such thing. You are obviously hallucinating a set of symptoms. Nonsense syllables to enable you to avoid the real problem.
Oh?
A most unusual set of symptoms, I must say.
Your pilot light seems to be fading.
My light is not fading. I am merely trying to relate your symptoms to proven theory.
Well, as long as you know what you're doing.
Mechanotherapy is an exact science, Elwood. It admits of no significant errors. We will proceed.
Good.
First, the word association test.
Fire away.
I will proceed to give a word. You answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Ready.
House.
Home.
Planet.
Earth.
Just musing. Now, Fleeful.
Fleeful?
Fleeful.
That sounds like a Martian word.
Just give me a response.
Fleeful, Okay. I can make 'em up, too. Marfouche. That's a pretty good one, huh? Made it up in the spur of the moment.
Marfouche is very significant. It is a corruption of the Martian concept of fush clib. Very significant.
I don't know any Martian words.
Aha, noteworthy. We will proceed. Loud.
Soft.
Green.
Mother.
Panagoyus.
Pathamathanga. How's that one?
At ease.
Nexothesmodrassica. Top that.
Catif of snow-hell gnoptices.
Okay. Rigmarole, Kalamazoo, iggity-bibbity-boo.
Good. It fits the pattern.
Pattern?
Your neurosis. I can diagnose it now.
Go on.
You have a classic case of theme desire, complicated by strong dwarkish intentions.
I could have sworn I was homicidal.
The term has no referent. It must be rejected as nonsense. Now, if you'll just settle back on the couch, we'll proceed.
At precisely this moment, a tall, gnarled, ugly man pushed his way through the doors of home therapy appliances. His clothing, unpressed and uncaring, hung on him like corrugated iron. When the clerk, Hoskins, approached him, he flipped back his lapel to show a small silver badge underneath.
Sir?
John Rath, Planetary Motor Security Division.
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Follinsby, Mr. Follinsby.
Yes, sir. Hello, Follinsby.
Mr. Rath,
Well?
So far we haven't a single lead.
You certainly never mentioned his name?
Oh, yes, sir.
Now think. Is there anything significant?
Is it serious, Mr. Rath?
Mr. Follinsby, this man is homicidal.
Won't it treat him?
Homicide is unknown on Mars. It'll treat him for the most likely Martian sickness.
What would that be?
Theme desire, Mr. Follinsby.
Theme desire?
It's a Martian illness in which the victim feels cursed by the tree-like nourishing parent, although, of course, Martians don't have parents in the ordinary sense. Well, Haskins?
I remember one thing. He mentioned he was a jet bus operator for the New York Jet Bus Authority.
Ah.
One other thing.
Yes?
I believe, yes, he was alcoholic.
An alcoholic jet bus operator. Excellent. It'll be on his records. Get the jet bus authority at once.
But surely, Elwood, you remember your Gorisy.
No.
Tell me then about your juvenile experiences with the Forestian fleet.
Never had one.
Complete blockage.
My father...
There is no such thing, of course.
But...
I thought we'd finally agreed on that.
Okay, if you say so.
Now then, since you claim you don't even know what a Gorisy is, tell me what you imagine it to be.
A forest fire. A salt tablet? A small screwdriver? Am I getting warm? A revolver? What the heck is a Gorisy?
Why, the tree that nourished you into puberty.
No tree nourished me.
You have completely repressed the experience.
No tree ever nourished me.
Mr. Caswell, let me try to explain your case as best I can. Somewhere in your childhood, your Gorisy, or parent tree, stifled your theme desire. Now, this gave rise to your present urge to dwark someone in a Flendish manner.
To what?
To dwark someone in a Flendish manner.
Listen, you crummy piece of hardware. I have never had a Gorisy. I have no desire to dwark someone in a Flendish manner or any other manner. All I want to do is put a bullet into Herbert Magnuson. Understand? All I want to do is kill Magnuson.
Lie down, Mr. Caswell. We'll go over it again.
My dear man, I'm not trying to insinuate that the jet bus authority hires alcoholics. If you will just...
Any luck?
It's a dead end. Now, Haskins.
Yes, sir.
A man's life may be at stake here. Now think. Was there anything else this fellow said to you? Anything?
Well, he did mention the name of his friend.
Of which friend?
The one he was going to kill.
The one he... Why didn't you say so? Now, what was it?
Magnuson.
You sure?
That's it. He said, I'm going to kill Magnuson. You know, just casually like that.
Follinsby, see if there's a Magnuson in the Manhattan phone book. Now, hurry it up.
Yes, Mr. Caswell, you were saying?
Well...
Something about your Gorisy?
Yes, I was saying I think perhaps you're right.
Naturally. But right about what, Mr. Caswell?
Well, I think perhaps... Yes, I think perhaps I do remember my Gorisy.
Ah! Now, Mr. Caswell, we're on the road to a cure.
Mr. Magnuson?
Yes?
Do you know a short, angry-looking, red-haired man?
I might.
Thank heaven.
Or I might not.
Can you tell us where to locate him?
You're a process server, huh?
Certainly not.
Don't kid me.
Mr. Magnuson, this man is trying to kill you.
Go on, you're full of happy pills. Elwood's my best friend.
Elwood?
He loves me like a brother. And if you think I'm going to stick some process server onto
Mr.
him...
Magnuson, I'm not a process server. Your friend Elwood is a psychopathic killer. You're his intended victim. Can you get that through your thick skull? I'm trying to save your life.
Yes.
You're Elwood Caswell?
Yes.
The Elwood Caswell who bought a Rex regenerator early this afternoon?
Yes. Won't you come in?
Thank you. My name is Rath, Planetary Motors.
Nice to meet you.
Have you used the machine?
Oh, yes.
I see. Mr. Caswell, I don't know how to explain this, but we made a terrible mistake. The regenerator you took was a Martian model for giving therapy to Martians.
I know.
You do?
Yes, it became pretty obvious after a while.
Well, it was a dangerous situation, especially for a man in your condition.
Yes, the poor thing tried its best, but of course it couldn't cure what wasn't there.
Well, then the company will, of course, reimburse you for your lost time and your Oh, you have mental anguish.
Naturally.
And we will substitute a regular human-type regenerator.
Oh, that won't be necessary. You see...
Mr. Caswell, will you put down that gun? I warn you.
I'm not going to shoot you. I merely want to turn this gun over to you.
You do?
Yes, I'm not going to shoot anybody.
You mean that...
The machine's attempt at therapy forced me to reappraise my whole self. There was an insight during which I was able to get rid of my obsession.
You no longer want to kill your friend Magnuson?
Kill Magnuson? Why, I haven't the faintest urge.
Well, I must say, then, that it worked out for the best. I'll get back to the store and have him pick up this machine in an hour. And, oh, well, sir...
don't forget to take this gun. I won't need it.
Of course. Well, nice to have met you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Did you hear that? He asked me if I still intended to kill Magnuson. Magnuson, that inhuman monster who cut down my Goracy. Magnuson, the man who even now is secretly planning to infect New York with abhorrent fiend desire. Am I going to kill him? Oh, no. I wish him a long life, a life filled with the torture I can now inflict on him. Kill Magnuson? Oh, no. I'm going to start right now to thwart him in a Wendish manner.
You have just heard X-1 presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Honorable Opponent by Clifford D. Simak, the story of an Earth general with the distasteful assignment of meeting a delegation of unmilitary clowns who arrive as conquerors. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. In a moment, tonight's cast and a preview of next week's exciting drama.
They took the blue from the skies and the pretty girl's eyes and the touch of old glory pure, and gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force blue. The U.S. Air Force blue. Oh, we are men with a dream of America's team. We're a rugged and ready crew. And you can bet your boots the world looks up to U.S. Air Force Blue. To U.S. Air Force Blue. We know where we're going. We set our course. The sky's no limit in the Air Force. They took the blue from the skies and the pretty girl's eyes and the touch of old glory's pure, and gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force blue. We proudly wear the blue, the U.S. Air Force blue.
Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Bad Medicine, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Finn O'Donovan and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Cliff Carpenter, Bill Britton, Alan Manson, Charles Webster, Carl Weber, and Joseph Julian. Norman Rose was heard as the machine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Bob Maurer and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Weekday, the companion and advisor to America's women, offers a new informative series on childbirth. It's the actual case history of a young wife, following her through the late stages of pregnancy, childbirth, and postnatal care. You'll attend the childbirth courses offered at New York's Mount Sinai Hospital, and even enter the delivery room for the actual birth of the child. Listen tomorrow for the real-life series, The Story of Birth. Then, on the same program, listeners can also enjoy more women's specialties, Kitchen Hints by Charlotte Adams, Child Care News with Dr. Francis Horwich, Vacation Ideas offered by Walter Kiernan, and another personal visit with your radio friend, Mary Margaret McBride. Don't forget the exciting dramatization each day from Taylor Caldwell's book, Tender Victory. Be sure to join Virginia Graham and Mike Wallace tomorrow on this NBC station. Follow the news with Chet Huntley tonight on NBC Radio.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, here's an important date to remember. It's this Sunday when the highly acclaimed program On the Line with Bob Considine premieres on NBC Radio. Behind each news event is a human interest story. And beginning Sunday, you can hear these fascinating sidelights with commentator Bob Considine. You'll also meet the important people who make the headlines, people from the government, labor, and management, or perhaps someone in your own hometown today. The latest news becomes more meaningful when you understand the human interest. So make a day to hear On the Line with Bob Considine. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, The Old Die Rich by H.L. Gold.
The
uniformed cop at the door told me to get lost, but Lou Pape spotted me and told the man to let me in. It was a shabby room. They always are. There was a woman on the bed, an old woman with white hair, thin enough to show the tight-drawn scalp. The medical examiner was going over her as if she were a side of beef that you had to put a federal-grade stamp on.
When are you going to stop taking this ham friend of yours around to these cases, Sergeant, just to gratify his morbid curiosity?
Forget about Weldon, Doc. What did she die of?
Not eating, malnutrition.
Oh, now look, Doc, in the top bureau drawer, she had bank books showing $32,000 from 5 different banks. Now, she had the price of a meal.
Malnutrition induced by senile psychosis. They starve because they're less afraid of death than digging into their savings.
I don't know, Doc. It doesn't feel right to me.
Listen, Weldon, just because you get up on a stage or on some half-baked television show and make believe you're 70 years old doesn't qualify you as an expert on gerontology.
Maybe not, Doc. But I went bald at 25, and I've been playing old men ever since. There's a lot more to it than just shuffling around and talking in a high-cracked voice.
Yeah, there hasn't been an actor since Otis Skinner.
Maybe. But the way I work, I have to get inside the character. I have to decide when he was born, how he got along with his father, where he went to school, what he thinks of women, everything about a character.
There isn't a one of them these days can make themselves heard past the 5th row.
Look, I'm serious. Now, I've tried imagining myself growing weak from hunger. I've tried to think of not even spending a nickel to keep me from dying. I just don't believe it. It isn't right. I don't feel it.
Well, lucky for me, I don't have to feel these things inside of me because I'm a doctor and not an actor. Sergeant, malnutrition induced by senile psychosis. I'll order the wicker basket from Bellevue. So long, Barrymore.
Well, he's right, Mark. We get a couple of these cases every year. Some old bat starving to death with $17,000 in old bills pinned on his union suit. Turns up all the time.
Al, it doesn't feel right.
Well, he knows his business.
But he doesn't know old people. I do. It isn't easy to starve to death. Not when you can buy day-old bread at the bakery or wilted vegetables the grocer's ready to throw out. Anyone who's willing to eat that stuff can stay alive from day to day. Hunger is it's a pretty potent instinct.
Maybe they get too sick to go out after old bread or wilted vegetables.
It takes weeks to die of starvation. Did you ever try starving for weeks, Lou?
No, did you?
Well, the point is somebody would find out, a janitor, a landlord, somebody, and they'd get him to a hospital.
Forget about it, Mark. Can't argue with it. Here there were 5 bank books, $32,000.
Yeah, she took good care of them. They look almost new.
Sure she did. Most important thing in the world, huh?
April 23rd, 1907, $150. The ink's pretty dark. Shouldn't it be faded?
She probably never took it out in the light.
Anyone ever think of testing the ink?
Well, what for? Bank's records always check. These aren't forgeries, if that's what you're thinking.
Well, I'd like to get a chemist working on this ink.
Now, Mark. Look, this is strictly against regulations. I got to take these books down to the squad room and sign them in.
Pretty dark ink for 1907.
Well, it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I guess I could hold them over tonight and bring them down to the property clerk in the morning.
Good. I know where I can find a chemist.
Mr. Weldon, there's no doubt of it. The ink sample is typical of inks used 50 years ago. 1907 would be about right.
There, you see, Weldon? I was supposed to go to the Trotters tonight.
But according to the amount of oxidation, it's fresh enough to be only a few months old.
There, I was right.
Well, couldn't that be the result of unusually careful handling, though?
Oh, yes, I suppose it could. An airtight compartment, perhaps, sealed with one of the inert gases or a vacuum. That might account for the lack of normal aging.
Lou, you can't keep inert gases in a top bureau drawer in a 4th floor walk-up.
Yeah. Well, it's probably some simple explanation.
For fresh ink, half a century old. I've been going out on these cases for about a year. It's my specialty, playing old people, and when I'm not working television or something on Broadway, I go down to the homes for the aged or the parks or just watch. Lou Pape's an old friend of mine, and he put me on these malnutrition cases. But there was more to it than just picking up color and tricks of the trade. There had to be a better reason for it. You can't just starve to death with upwards of $30,000 right at your fingertips. Not without at least buying a bowl of soup. I had a run of television that kept me busy for about a month. Then Lou Pape called me up and asked me to come down to Bellevue.
I'll autopsy if you want it, Sergeant, but I can give you the cause of death right now. Malnutrition due to senile psychosis.
What's up, Lou?
Well, Mark, an old guy was found wandering around down on Hester Street. Suffering from malnutrition, he had $17,000 in cash inside the lining of his jacket.
Is he alive?
No, not now he isn't. Doc's got him in the room there, but he was stumbling around when the cop on the beat picked him up.
Did he say anything?
Well, he talked to the cop. Pretty smart young kid. Seems the old man kept talking about money and about his wife. She must have been dead 20 years. And then, just before he went out completely, he did say something, maybe 3 or 4 times.
Well, what was it?
El Greco.
You mean the artist?
Well, that's what Stankiewicz said. He's the officer who picked him up. Said he remembered he'd heard the name on that television quiz program. You know, the jockey who's the art expert.
El Greco.
Probably some Greek restaurant where he was bumming his meals. Are you sure you want an autopsy, Sergeant? It's late. I won't get to it till tomorrow.
All right, take your time, Doc.
There's something else, isn't there, Lou?
Well, maybe, Mark. We found the old guy's room, and there was an ad thumbtacked over the sink. Nothing too unusual.
Yeah?
Here it is.
Men and women wanted, like work suitable for old people. No references required.
Well, I checked it with the lieutenant. He says to forget it. Says it figures for an old guy to be interested in an ad like that.
An old guy with $17,000 in cash?
Yeah. Well, I didn't figure I'd argue with the lieutenant.
You mind if I keep it?
No, go ahead.
It was an old brownstone house in the East 80s. I got in line with the rest of the applicants. My face was lined with collodion wrinkles, and I wore an antique shiny suit and run-down shoes. It was a good makeup job. I looked more authentic than the rest of the old-timers who were waiting for the interview. I finally came up to where a woman was asking the questions.
Name?
Kernet. Louis Kernet. Kernet.
Mm-hmm. Address?
Well, I don't exactly have a place. I've been staying with a fellow down on 12th Street, a friend of mine. I met him in the cafeteria.
Previous occupation?
Well, I worked at a lot of things. Used to be a printer way back. I could handset...
Do you have any references?
Well...
Family?
No, ma'am. I haven't got any family. I had a cousin in Salt Lake City, but I haven't seen him in 30 years or more. The ad said you didn't need no references.
Well, that's right. Now, will you wait in the other room?
Yes, ma'am. Do I get the job, ma'am?
Just wait in the other room.
I shuffled into the other room and sat down to wait. I concentrated on building a character for Louis Kernet. If I was going to carry this through, I was going to have to play a better performance than I'd ever given before. About half an hour, a young woman came into the room. I'd planned to be dozing the way an old man would, and so my eyes were closed when I heard the door close. When I opened them, I was looking into the barrel of a .38 revolver.
Are you awake now, Mr. Weldon?
Huh? Ma'am?
I don't think you need to carry on anymore. If you need any further convincing, you are Mark Weldon. You're about 40 years old, and you played this same character on television about 6 weeks ago. You played it fairly well.
Thank you. Would you mind putting down that gun?
Yes. Why did you apply for this position, Mr. Weldon? You're not old. Not really.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was a bet. I was having an argument about the method with an actor who trained at the Old Vic. I bet him that I could get by off the stage.
Yeah, well, don't bother. You've been very busy recently trying to find out why senile psychotics starve themselves to death.
How did you know that?
Well, I happen to know that you've been present at several police investigations into these cases, and you're a good friend of Sergeant Lou Pate.
Well, you know a great deal more about me than I do about you.
Well, I would be glad to enlighten you. My name is May Roberts. I'm the daughter of the late Dr. Anthony Roberts, the physicist, who was dismissed from the Brookhaven Atomic Energy Laboratory 5 years ago.
I assume you're connected with these starvation cases, or you wouldn't have known I was investigating them.
Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I'm not afraid of professional detectives, Mr. Weldon. They deal only with facts. I don't like amateurs. They guess too much. They don't stick to reality. Consequently, they're likely to get too close to the truth.
Unfortunately, Miss Roberts, I'm nowhere near the truth. I haven't the slightest idea how you're tied in with those starvation
Well,
deaths.
I intend to show you, Mr. Weldon. I'm happy to announce that you have the job.
Now, look...
Don't move, Mr. Weldon. Oh, incidentally, about 15 minutes ago, I called Sergeant Pate and told him I was your sister just in from Pittsburgh. I wanted to get in touch with you very badly, and Sergeant Pate was very sorry. He wished he could help me, but he didn't have the slightest idea where you were. All right, Mr. Weldon. Right ahead of you, please. Through that door.
She didn't look like the kind of girl who would forget to hold the gun on me as I went down the hall. So that's all I did, just go down the hall. I climbed up to the 4th floor to a large room. There was a maze of electrical equipment bolted down, tubes and wires and dials. In the middle of the room was a wire mesh cage. She kept that gun on me, steady as a rock. She began to set readings on the dials and flip switches on the control panel.
It'll take about 5 minutes for the field to build up, Mr. Weldon. Please get in the cathode area.
You mean that wire cage?
Go ahead.
All right.
Now, I wouldn't advise moving now, Mr. Weldon. The wire carries some 10,000 volts.
Now, look, Miss
Mr.
Roberts.
Weldon, you're curious, and you could turn out to be a great nuisance to me. As long as you've come this far, we might as well both benefit by it.
Benefits?
You'll find a suit of clothes on the floor there. Put it on.
But after all...
Put it on.
I didn't know whether she was bluffing about the electric charge, but the revolver looked real enough, so I stripped and changed into the other clothes. The shoes were a little too tight and pointed. The collar of the shirt was too stiffly starched and too high under my chin. The suit was too narrow at the shoulders and at the ankles. I remember my father had a suit like that. The same shiny blue serge.
All right. In your pocket, you'll find a set of envelopes. You'll find a set of instructions on each. Follow them carefully.
I don't get it.
You will.
Use the envelopes in the order they're arranged.
What's this all about?
Mr. Weldon, I meant it when I said this could be a benefit to both of us. There's no use explaining anything. You'll find out. And don't try to escape. It can't be done. All right. Now the field generators are ready.
Look, Miss Roberts, this is absolutely...
Just follow instructions, Mr. Weldon.
I blinked. I was standing outside a bank on a sunny day in spring. I stared at the people passing by. They were dressed like the characters in a 1930 movie. The women wore long dresses and flower pot hats. Men had hard straw hats, suits with narrow shoulders. Cars were square with flat radiators in the front. There was a trolley car passing by, and suddenly I realized that the last trolley car stopped running in Manhattan years ago. I tried to figure it out. It was New York, all right. I recognized some of the buildings. First, I figured it must have been hypnosis. And then I looked at the first of the envelopes in my pocket. I read it and walked into the bank.
Yes, sir. Our Mr. Golden tells me that you wish to open an account.
Yes, that's right.
Uh-huh. Well, we're very happy to have a new depositor. Very happy indeed. Of course, you realize the institution is in sound condition, very sound. You needn't worry about all those rumors in this bank. No, sir. Solid.
Well, that's good.
All right, now then, name? Mark Weldon. You have no address in the city at present?
No.
And you're depositing $150?
That's right.
All righty. I'll just check the slip here. $150, right. And the date, May 15th, of course, 1931.
31? The Depression.
Oh, now, Mr. Weldon, this is a very good year for business. This temporary recession is bound to abate. Sound banking policies will see us through. It's just around the corner, you know.
What is?
Prosperity. All right, Mr. Weldon, we're very happy to have your account.
I went outside the bank, and I stood there in the spring sunlight and let the terror soak into me. The possibility of the entire situation was gnawing at the edges of my mind. And then suddenly I wasn't there. It was as fast as blinking. I was outside another bank in the same city. The date on the next envelope was May 29th, and it was still 1931. I made a $75 deposit there, and then $100 at another place a few days later, spending a few minutes each time and going ahead anywhere from a couple of days to almost a month. In 1934, I found myself inside a broker's office.
Very well, Mr. Weldon. As I understand it, you are buying this stock for a Dr. Anthony Roberts.
That's right.
I assume the stock will be in his name?
That's right. I'm just acting as agent. I follow instructions.
Of course. Well, are you sure I can't convince you that you're making a big mistake?
No, these are my instructions.
Well, now, Mr. Weldon, we are a reputable brokerage house, and, well, frankly, I feel quite shaky about putting our clients' money into this kind of security. There's no future in it. It's a rare metal for which there is very little use for industrial purposes, and... however, if your client is adamant...
I have my instructions.
Very well, then. In the name of Dr. Anthony Roberts, 100 shares of Montana uranium. Most unwise.
It went that way about 50-50. I'd deposit money in my own name in various banks at other times. Then I'd buy a stock or make a bet for May Roberts. On June 21st, 1932, I bet Jack Sharkey to take the heavyweight title away from Matt Schmeling. There was Singing Wood in 1933 at Belmont Park and Max Bayer over Primo Carnera. I went on skipping through the years, touching here and there for a few minutes to an hour at a time. It was in early October 1938, about 5 hours after I left May Roberts' house, before I realized what she had me doing. It was making deposits and winning sure bets, just as those senile psychotics had done. The ink on their bank book seemed fresh because it was fresh. It wasn't given a chance to oxidize. The rate I was going, I'd be back at my own time in a few hours with $15,000 compound interest in cash. But those old people had died of starvation somehow with all that cash in banks. I didn't know how it happened or why. But suddenly it occurred to me that I didn't want to be found dead in my hotel room.
So rather than make the deposit in 1938, I grabbed a cab and told the driver to step on it. I got a mile away from the bank, and then the cab suddenly disappeared. Found myself in front of a counter at a lunchroom. The envelope instructed me to make a bet on the World Series. There wasn't any way to get out of the range of the machine. It picked me up at least 5 miles away from where I was supposed to be. Came back a week later to get my winnings. I was hungry, so I got myself a hamburger and went out the door. When I hit the sidewalk, it happened again.
Don't touch the cage yet, Mr. Weldon. I'll have to clear the charge.
Hey, what happened to my hamburger?
What?
The hamburger. I had it here. It's gone. I'm hungry.
I'll get you something to eat, Mr. Weldon, before your next trip. Well, you've done pretty well for yourself, haven't you?
Yes, I have. About 15,000. I had ketchup on my sleeve. It's gone.
Mr. Weldon, I want to talk seriously with you. Now you've seen part of what I'm doing.
Part?
My father was discharged from all his research and university connections because he insisted in publishing his findings on the temporal field research. All the conventional physicists explained that it was overwork and recommended everything from hot bouillon before retiring to psychoanalysis. Well, possibly both of these might have been beneficial. But the fact of the matter is that temporal field activities are quite true, and you've seen proof.
Well, I suppose I have.
So it seemed just a question of money, although obviously I can get all I need now.
But sending people back through time to bet on sure things like uranium...
It's a fair exchange. I pay well for service, don't I?
I suppose so.
But that isn't the most important thing. I've been able to save things that would have been lost otherwise. I've sent people back to find precious treasures that would have been destroyed or would have disappeared.
Like an El Greco painting?
Yes. And the original score of Mozart's Magic Flute that would have been burned in 1942, and a Picasso miniature that would have been lost at sea in 52. I have them all here.
Stolen?
No. Bought with money from the year itself at a fair price. Well, Mr. Weldon, I sent you back because I've needed someone to work with me on a regular basis. Someone who's faster and more alert than the old people I've hired till now.
Why old people?
It's a function of the field. You can't send somebody back to a year in which they didn't exist at all.
I'm hungry.
Please, Mr. Weldon, this is very important. My father died trying to prove the validity of his field theory to conventional scientists. And I don't intend to bother. We can become the most powerful people in the world.
I don't feel very powerful now. You haven't got a sandwich hanging around.
I want to make you an offer, Mr. Weldon. I need someone to help me expand the operation, plan the projects and research. I chose you because I was afraid that you might hit on the truth by yourself.
Can I come out of this cage
Be careful.
now?
Don't touch the contacts. The field reacts on a random factor for at least an hour after it's cut off.
I'll be careful. Tell me, Miss Roberts, why haven't you been able to go back to the time that your father was alive and bring him back before he died?
Dead tissue can't be transported. We tried it with mice and rabbits from a laboratory in 1941, and they just disappear.
Like my hamburger.
Mr. Weldon, I assume that you're interested and that we can make our plans without using this revolver.
I hope so. $15,000 is a lot of money. Of course, you were able to send those old people back a lot further.
Some of them as far back as 1880.
How long would they be gone? I mean, in subjective time.
Several weeks. Perhaps a month or more.
There's only one problem, Miss Roberts.
Well, I'm sure we can work out any details.
Well, this one is a little hard to work out. You see, I'm hungry. I haven't been this hungry since I got lost on a hunting trip and went without food for 3 days. You see, you forget I've got an interest in this business because they found some old people dead of malnutrition and $30,000 or so tucked away in their pockets. They had been gone a month or more, and they had to eat during that time, didn't they? When they came back, the food disappeared like my hamburger. It disappeared all at once, all over their body. In one fast jolt, they starved to death.
No, you don't understand. They just couldn't take the field transition. They were too old, some of them, and they lied to me about their age to get the job.
Oh, no, you can't tell me that because I know how hungry I am. And I was only gone about 12 hours. They were murdered.
Get back.
You know, they say a hungry man gets mighty desperate. He'll do almost anything. Let go. Let go. Let go of it.
Oh, my arm.
Look out. Look out. The cage. The contact. She fell into that cage and disappeared before she hit the ground. I didn't know what happened. I know she said the field worked in a random factor, whatever that meant. I called Lou Pate, and he came to the house just after the fire started. Something went in the control panel, and it turned out to be a 4-alarm fire before they got it under control. There was nothing left of the machine. There wasn't much left of the brownstone house. Lou didn't believe the story I told him.
You mean there won't be any more of them? No more senile psychotics starving to death with a bankroll in their hip pocket?
No, I told you, Lou.
Come on now, Mark. We'll get plenty more. We always have.
No, I'll bet you won't. I'll bet you $1 there won't be another case like that.
I'll take that bet.
I lost the bet. There was one more case, and perhaps it was the strangest one. A woman was found wandering in Bryant Park just before she died of acute starvation. One strange thing was she was young, not more than 30. And the other was she had $17,000 stuffed in her pocketbook and a bullet wound in her arm the medical examiner said was at least 2 months old. I guess that's what she meant by the random factor.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features This Way to the Regress by Damon Knight, the story of a man named Sullivan who, strangely enough, did not have a great future behind him, but rather a great past ahead. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. In a moment, tonight's cast and a preview of next week's exciting drama. Farmers know they can't stop storms, floods, or droughts from ruining a crop. But they can make sure things like that can't ruin them by investing in United States savings bonds. Not only farmers, but over 40 million Americans in all sorts of jobs own 40 billions of savings bonds. And why? Because savings bonds are the easy way to start saving and to keep saving. And the money you invest in savings bonds mean protection now and ready cash when you need it in the future. Improving the farm, sending the youngsters to college, or planning your own retirement. These are the big things you can be ready for with savings bonds. And besides offering you a safe investment, each Series E savings bond pays you back $4 at maturity for every $3 you invest. Yes, you earn extra dollars while you save, so start saving now. For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Old Die Rich, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by H.L. Gold and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Jim Bowles, Jan Miner, Bill Zuckert, Guy Repp, Wendell Holmes, Ralph Camargo, and Ivor Francis. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Bob Maurer and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Again, G47 has shown his power on Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas. When Jerry Hall started off the homing pigeon to Johnson on the rescue boat, things looked very bright. The pigeon was released at midnight, and at 8 in the morning the Gregory party were sure that all was well, and that the pigeon had reached the other boat. As they were discussing their chances of escape in the soundproof cabin on the yacht, the mad scientist, G47, walked in with the pigeon in his hand. G47 has just left the cabin, after telling them that the pigeon was stopped by gas in the ring of fog surrounding the island.
Well, I guess that's the end of it.
Oh, Mother, is there no hope at all?
Very little, my dear. You heard what G47 said. His assistants are working now on the formula they took from the leg of that pigeon. And when they've successfully compounded it, our lives will be worth nothing.
Golly whiskers, Tex. Tex? Hey, Tex, what are you thinking about?
How to get this pigeon or the other one through that ring of fog and gas that guards the island.
But Can you do it in time to be of any help, Captain? G47 and his men will be working rapidly on that formula. And when they complete it, I think it will be too late to help us then.
Oh, Tex, isn't there something we can do?
I'm afraid not. There's no chance for these birds to fly through that gas ring. They'll never fail to use a gas ring as long as they have a chance of trying anything else.
Wait a minute, Tex. You act like you're not paying any attention to us at all. Quit worrying about getting the message through to Johnson. He can't get here in time to save us anyhow.
Jerry's right, Tex. What we've got to do is try some extreme measure. Something wild and foolish if there's nothing sensible and reasonable left to do. But we've got to do something about getting off this island before those Euclideans get that formula compounded.
No hurry about that, Pat. It will take them a long time to figure it out.
Do not be too sure, Captain Bradford. G47 and those other men can do as they wish with any formula that any living man could write for them.
Hurry up, Tex. Let's try to get off this crazy island.
Take a look outside the door, Jerry. I'm going to tell you something.
It's all right to talk in here now, Tex. No one can hear us with the cabin insulated with this opaque cloth.
Probably not, but take a look anyway, kid.
Okay, Tex. All clear out there. The skipper's at one end of the passage and the engineer at the other.
All right. I'll just let the pigeon rest here on the bunk.
That beautiful little bird is so frightened. If it's hurt, we should...
Not a bit. Just some harmless gas that caused him to flutter slowly to the floor of the island. He'll be all right after he gets over his fright.
I read in your pigeon book that it upsets him when something stops him from a flight they've started out on.
Sometimes it does, but this little fellow has had accidents before. He'll be all right soon. I'll hold him here, Tex. There now, Bosun. Feel better now? Now, Tex, the pigeon seems comfortable. Go ahead.
I suppose I should have told you before. I thought I'd save you a lot of worry if I did the worrying for all of us. I didn't want you to realize just how much I feared old G47 and how little faith I had in that pigeon getting through the fog ring.
Well, we know the worst now, Tex. I was afraid, Captain, that your plan was too simple to succeed against the protection on this island.
Oh, you did swell, Tex. Nobody's going to blame you when old G47 works out that formula and comes to do whatever he's going to do with us.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, kid. I've had my mind on the pigeon and can't seem to stay on the subject. But you can quit worrying about the formula. The old G47 may be mad enough to kill us anyway when he discovers that he hasn't got it.
What do you mean, Tex? Did you put the formula in code? These Euclideans can decipher any code nearly as fast as it can be read by one who understands it. They have a conversion table of all the possible combinations of figures, letters, and characters known to man. And they work out a code as accurately as you would use a slide rule.
Then when they read the code, we're sunk for sure.
But it wasn't code. What I had on that message to Johnson simply was not my formula.
Then they haven't the formula at all?
They must have some formula, or they wouldn't be working on it all this time.
They have a formula, all right. And no matter how clever they are, they're going to have some fun with it before they give up trying to confound my secret with it.
You gave them a formula which will make nothing, then?
No, I gave them a formula which I worked on for years. And I've worked with some of the greatest chemists in the world on it. The formula for making synthetic diamonds.
Kinkle and goldfish. Then if they work it out, they'll have a diamond.
Something like one, Jerry, though the formula was never quite perfect, was it, Tex?
No. It works up to a certain point where a hard mass is precipitated. But before you can rescue this solid from the solution, it is promptly dissolved again.
That's a honey, Tex. It may fool them, too. For when they get this hard substance and then it dissolves, they'll think they got the real thing, the universal solvent.
Hush, Jerry, not so loud.
So that is your secret, Captain Bradford. The universal solvent. I've often heard G47 say you had the greatest formula in the world, and one that chemists have tried to get since chemistry began. Now I can understand why they wanted to bring you to this island. Yes, Joan, dear. I was allowed to come here and find you so those scientists could get Captain Bradford in their power. Now all our lives will pay for it.
Hey there, Mrs. Gregory. Cut it out. We're not done yet by a long ways. Don't forget what G47 said. As long as they're trying to get Tex's formula, we're safe.
Right, and before they get it, we may figure our way out.
Do you mind if I ask you a question about your formula, Captain Bradford?
Go right ahead, Joan, only don't talk too loud.
You have really found the formula for the universal solvent?
Yes.
You've actually used it to dissolve every element and combination of elements known to science?
Yes, Joan, I really have it.
What do you use as a container to keep it in?
I thought that was coming, Tex. Joan's got her head fastened on tight, all right.
Is your head loose, Jerry? Now, don't you two start that again.
Jerry is really paying you a very high compliment, Joan. He thinks it's clever of you to ask such a question.
To ask that is only natural, I think. For if you have something which will dissolve everything, how could you keep any of it? It would eat its way through any container.
You may think it's natural to ask that, Joan, with the training you've had here. But most people pass it up. Anyhow, I have the formula, and it will eat its way out of anything you put it in. And that very fact is a thing I think will save our lives and get us off this island.
But how?
No more now, Jerry. I hope we haven't talked too much about it as it is.
Here's where we get it for the trick we played on them.
G47 will be very angry.
Can't help it now. Come in.
Oh, Skipper. What is it?
Pigeon.
Something happened to the other pigeon?
What's up, Skipper? Someone at the pigeon cote?
Was.
Someone been there and done something to the pigeon?
Oh, Ted.
Steady, Pat. You three stay here. I'll take this other pigeon and go and see. Shove off, Skipper.
Now, what's up, I wonder?
Oh, I hope they haven't harmed the other one. I wouldn't mind their taking it away from us to keep us from using it, but I'd feel very badly if anything happened to them.
You are so sweet and kind, Mother. I think those are the words I want to use, but we know so little of those qualities on Euclidia that I do not even know how to speak of them.
You're doing all right, Joan. For a girl that didn't know anything when I landed here, you're getting so you talk pretty near as good as I do.
You mean I speak nearly as well as you, Jerry?
Oh, what's the use?
I'm afraid, Jerry, that Joan is rapidly learning our careless manner of address, and she's really right.
I want to speak as you do, Mother, and I want to go to your world and learn all about it.
Our chances of that aren't boiling over right now.
Oh, now, Jerry, you must not get in that frame of mind. You must keep happy and foolish to help the rest of us.
Yes, Jerry. Tex is inclined to look on the dark side of things, mostly to keep us from getting our hopes too high, I think. And we've learned to look to you for the bright side, so don't let us down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Only things happen too fast here for me sometimes. Now this pigeon thing. We had our hopes all worked up on getting a message to Johnson, and the pigeon comes back.
But they didn't get Captain Bradford's formula, Jerry, and that is something.
Yes, something. But what will G47 do because he was tricked?
He won't do anything till he gets Tex's real formula.
Jerry may be right, Mother. G47 and his assistants have a patience that is terrible. Their plans and formulas have been complete, their equipment ready for world conquest, and their supplies on hand for many months. Yet they have waited patiently for this chance to get Captain Bradford here with his formula.
But why did they have to make such an involved process of it? A simple message that you had been found living here would have brought us at any time.
I don't know about that, Mrs. Gregory. Remember how many times you have been fooled about Joan being found someplace, and how you even wondered about coming here.
I know the Euclideans wanted to be sure you left your home without any suspicion of what you would find, as they feared Captain Bradford might leave instructions behind him as to what to do if you did not return as you had planned. If these men fear anyone or anything in the world, it is Captain Bradford.
Gee, it's great to be that important.
But you, Jerry, you are also important.
Me? How come?
You have some very powerful radio apparatus in your home in Hollywood, you and your father. Is that not so?
Jerry, they must have heard you sending with your 1 1/2 meter set.
Oh, I don't think it would pick up here. It's just a homemade affair.
Oh, it was heard here, and it was heard to answer the call which brought you down here.
Jiminy Jimcracks. Do you mean that when I heard that report about the old sailor and tried to get more information about it, that they really heard my QRF here?
Yes, Jerry. They heard you very plainly when you repeated the message G47 sent, and you said you would try to locate Mrs. Gregory, Mother, and get the message to her.
Now, Jerry, how does that feel? See how important you are?
Well, it's no surprise to me. I always had an idea I'd turn out to be a pretty important guy.
And you take it all so modestly, Jerry.
Oh, gee.
And your face is so red, Jerry. You look so funny.
Joan, dear. Joan, you laughed. That's the first time I ever heard you laugh.
We do not laugh on Euclidia. I never felt like that before. It's a nice feeling to laugh. Jerry, you must make me laugh some more. Will you please look foolish again so that I may laugh?
Oh, sure. Oh, no, I won't.
Well, I can't figure that one out. Here's the other pigeon, not hurt a bit. Skipper said one of G47's men came and took it out of the coat. Handle it very carefully and put it back.
What could that be for, Tex?
I don't know.
Oh, they just did something to it so it can't carry messages for us.
May I see the pigeon, Captain Bradford?
Certainly, Joan. Here you are.
Such a soft and warm little thing. He's rather nervous, I think. Let me see. Yes. So that is it. This pigeon could not leave the island now, Captain, through the fog ring.
Have they done something to it so the gas will affect it?
Wait a minute. Let me feel that pigeon. Yep. Remember when we got off the yacht the first time and we tried to walk? That magnetism held us still, even our hands.
What do you see, Jerry?
He feels it, Captain Bradford. Before you had time to leave the yacht, when you first landed, a magnetic paint had been put on the rail and deck of the yacht in the yellow darkness, so that you could not move when the current was turned on.
Then that is what's been done to this pigeon? I can't see it.
The paint is colorless and odorless, but it lasts for many hours, and this pigeon is now covered with it and could never get outside the magnetic circle. We have lost our only hope, Captain Bradford.
When Jerry released a homing pigeon with a message to Johnson on the rescue boat, it was stopped by gas in the fog ring surrounding the island. G47 is now working on the formula taken from the message, the formula he believes to be Captain Tex Bradford's universal solvent. The other pigeon has been covered with magnetic paint to make it impossible for him to fly through the fog around the island. It is daylight, and as there is no chance of planning anything further toward their escape or rescue until dark, Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford are working in the chart room of the yacht, while Joan takes Jerry on a tour of the Magic Island.
Now, Jerry, you must do just as I tell you and do not touch anything without permission.
This is going to be some sightseeing tour. Like letting two of the prisoners in jail go around and look at the other prisoners.
You're supposed to be a clever boy, Jerry.
Supposed to be? I am clever.
Then if you are, you should appreciate the opportunity of going through some of the laboratories and control chambers on the island, and perhaps observing something which will facilitate our ultimate plan of escape.
Hey, look, why don't you learn to talk English? All those big words are just a waste of time, and besides, I'm too busy for that.
You would find the larger words more expressive, Jerry, if you would only learn to employ them more frequently.
Okay, well, where do we start looking at all this stuff? We've been all over this island now, and I haven't seen anything but these little steel houses on top.
We are nearly to the general elevator shaft entrance. I will take you down into the subterranean observation chambers.
Well, take me where something makes a little noise, will you? This walking around on concrete that sounds like carpet is getting on my nerves.
There are not many places on the island where you will hear noise, Jerry. It is made silent deliberately and has proven the best method of protection yet discovered.
I don't see how.
Anything foreign to the island and its people, any boat, device, or method of communication which has any sound, is recorded instantly. While if there were local noises, it would be difficult to distinguish sounds emanating from an outside influence.
Never mind. I'll figure out the next one myself.
Here we are, Jerry.
Here we are where?
At the elevator entrance.
Well, maybe you're right. But I can't see anything except this little platform of steel on the floor of the island.
That is the elevator.
Gee whiz.
Cleostra at the main elevator shaft. Cleostra at the main elevator shaft.
Hey, what is this? Your name's Joan now. Cut out that Cleostra stuff.
I am called Cleostra here on Euclidia, and it is the only name they will ever recognize.
Oh, all right. But what was that hocus-pocus you started to recite?
When I identified myself, my voice was recorded in the main control chamber in the center of the island. One of the guards looked out to see if it was really I, saw you with me, communicated with G47, secured his permission to allow you to enter, and started the machinery which is raising the top of the elevator shaft.
Oh, there wasn't time enough for all that to happen.
When you have been longer on Euclidia, you will learn the reason the Euclideans speak of time in seconds. Minutes are too long for the speed and accuracy of things on this island.
Everything on this island is nutty. Boy, look at that thing come up out of the island. It's pretty near as tall as we are now.
It will soon be ready to enter.
But say, when I ran after those fellows who went down inside the island when they thought someone was escaping, that was a regular building. It stuck up out of the island all the time. We didn't have to wait for it to grow like this thing is doing.
That was the elevator in the control chamber. Only the trusted members of the scientist group are allowed to use that.
Then why didn't they stop me when I tagged along with them?
Doubtless they thought you would foolishly say something or do something that would be of use to them. Remember, these men want very badly something that Captain Bradford, and only Captain Bradford, has.
Keep quiet. If they heard you asking for this elevator, they can hear all we can say now.
Certainly they can, but we will talk about nothing that is not already known. Now the chamber has stopped rising. We may enter.
Okay, but that wall looks kind of solid to me.
It is opening now.
How's that thing run? Compressed air?
No, Jerry. All elevators on the island are run and controlled by electromagnets.
Gee, a magnet strong enough to lift that elevator?
Were not the magnets strong enough to pull my mother's large yacht to the island?
That's right. Boy, what a place.
Now we will enter.
Hooray! Something makes noise. Boy, I'm going to stay in this elevator just so I can hear the noise of our feet.
Stop that, Jerry. The Euclideans will not like it. The vibrations will be so heavy they will overload the delicate recording instrument.
Anyhow, I found a place I can come to for a little noise when the quiet on the rest of this island drives me crazy.
Now we will descend. To what floor would you like to go?
Make it easy on yourself, kid.
Jerry, I do not know what you mean.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, it will be my pleasure to leave the choice of points of interest on this tour completely in your hands.
Why, Jerry, you can speak properly when you want to.
Oh, I can do a lot of things that I don't show off about all the time. Well, let's get going.
I think you would enjoy seeing the submarine locks. We will go down to the 5th level, 50 feet below the ceiling of the island. You may press the indicator button there, the numeral 5.
Okay, it's pushed. Boy, this is slick. The door is closing all by itself.
Nearly everything on the island is automatic.
Now we're starting down. This sure runs nice and smooth. What happened? We've stopped.
Only for a moment. That is a check on the 10-foot level.
And that happens on every floor, every level?
On this elevator, yes. Some of the private elevators of the scientists and the escape elevators will drop rapidly and continuously. But this one...
That's the 2nd level, huh?
Yes. Now it will release again. You see? This elevator is made so it may only be run one floor at a time, as it is in general use by everyone on the island and can easily be stopped at each floor from the control chambers in the event of escape.
There it is again, the 3rd level now. But I don't see how all this is done by magnets. Of course, I can feel them take hold and then let go of the car, like that one just then let go. But how do they pull it up and control it all by magnets?
They employ both types of electromagnets. The tractive is used to move the car through the shaft, and the portative to hold and release it at the various levels.
You sure learned a lot from these guys. Now we're at the 4th level. The next one will be ours, huh?
Yes, the car will automatically stop and the door open at the 5th level.
I wish Captain Bradford and your mother could see all this.
Oh, they will. I wanted them to come with us today, but Mother and the captain had something to work on in the chart room of the yacht, and I think they wanted to be alone while working it out.
Gee, we're at the 5th level now. And this is 50 feet below the top of the water? 50 feet below sea level?
Hardly that, Jerry. At high tide, the surface of the island is well above the water level. Remember that you stepped from the deck of the yacht directly onto the island pier.
Oh, sure, that's right. But we're 50 feet below the top of the island, and maybe 40 feet below water level?
That is right, Jerry. Now, when this door opens, I will take you on an inspection tour of the island submarine locks. This is the level at which they are anchored.
And you can get into the subs down here in more than 6 fathoms of water?
Naturally. G47 has always said it was very stupid to call a boat a submarine when it had to be loaded on the surface. These boats have never been on the surface.
Oh, where do they build them then?
On this level. You will see one under construction when we... Well, that is strange. The door should be opening now.
Well, maybe we're supposed to push something to make it open.
No, it will open automatically or not at all. I've never seen it take this long.
Something's wrong with it then. What'll happen if I try to open it?
Nothing. You will simply not be able to open it.
Well, I'm going to try anyhow. No, nothing doing. Well, this is your party. Where do we go from here?
It must be that something secret is being done on this level, and the door checks are set. Push the indicators for one of the other levels. We will go there for the time.
Okay. I'll try number 6. There we are.
On the 6th level, you will see the Jerry, something is very wrong here. The car does not move.
Why, Ginger, you're right. We're stuck. I guess their electricity has failed them.
Jerry, that thumping noise. This car is going to be held here.
What do you mean? What's that noise?
Those are the permanent magnets being set into place to hold this car. You can hear them taking hold.
What does that mean, Joan?
I'm afraid, Jerry. It may mean something terrible. There's an emergency of some kind. All the electrical energy is needed someplace on the island. That is why they're placing the permanent magnets to hold this car, so the electromagnets will not drain the current supply.
Well, what can we do? What can happen to us here?
I am not sure, though I think we are in no danger. But what is happening?
Well, whatever it is, I don't like it. I'm going to try pushing some of these buttons for the other levels.
Well, that will do no good, Jerry. I'm sure the current has been taken from the electromagnets. Yes. And it is being taken from the lighting system.
Golly whiskers. The light's going out. It's gone.
Oh, Jerry. What will happen now?
Now, don't act like a girl. We've got to... Hey, what's that noise?
Water. Water rushing around the elevator shaft. The submarine lock must have broken. Oh, Jerry. In this awful dark, with the water rushing around us, what will happen?
If this car is airtight, we'll be all right. I guess. There's that alarm gong again. What's that mean?
That is the submarine level emergency signal. Jerry, the lock must have broken. The ocean is flooding into this level. Oh, Jerry! Jerry!
Gee whiz, Joan. You act just like any other girl when something's gone wrong. You ought to know all about these things. Can't you do something to get us out of here?
No. The electricity is turned off. The car can't be moved. And if we could open the door, we would be drowned.
But somebody will come and get us out. They know we're in here.
Well, that would make no difference to the Euclideans. Their island comes first with them. And we will be looked for only after the damage is repaired and the instruments checked.
But gee, we can't stay in here. This thing's airtight. I know it must be. And we'll run out of air to breathe pretty soon.
Yes. The air will be shut off. Oh, Jerry, I'm afraid. Listen. Listen to the water. The elevator shaft is shaking with it.
Yeah. It's getting kind of hard to breathe in here.
Oh, Jerry. Listen.
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
There's the old saying, you'll do it and like it. And, of course, a man can, by physical force, make you do it. How would you like to have it so that you would like it, too? There are two basic ways that you can be happy in this world. One, of course, is to have everything you want in just the way you want it and never have any difficulties or troubles. This method is ideal, perhaps, but not very probable. Only one person in the world could have that, I guess. The other method, for absolute, complete happiness, would be to like anything that you got, no matter what it was. The first approach is the one that makes sense, of course. That's the one we work for. We earn it. The other seems so much easier.
Stop barking. Stop barking. Stop barking. Barking. No, that's all right, doggy. You bark as much as you want. Oh, how I wish I could get mad. In the old days, I'd have gone up that dog and told him to shut up, and that'd been that, but no more. Just as soon as I start to get good and sore about something, my mind kind of all creams up in the happiness effect, and I'm not sore anymore. And everybody here in Benton, I guess most everybody in the country is just like me. We've all had our brains written on, and we're all happy. Here I am, chief of police of Benton, and never a crime to speak of unless it's overtime air parking, and what kind of crime you call that? Henry! Oh, here he comes. Our own Doc Royd, the man responsible for all our happiness. He's supposed to be just about the best brain rider this side of the Mississippi. Henry! Slobbo, that's what I call him. Old wet lips, always do good and always grinning. But behind that grin, believe me, ice. If you need an enemy, just have Doc Royden for a friend.
Henry, didn't you hear me calling to you?
Oh, sorry, Doc. I guess I just kind of stand here thinking.
Happy thoughts, I hope.
Oh, sure, happy thoughts. Sure. What can I do for you, Doc?
A fellow just came into town, suspicious. Painting pictures out at Willow Hollow.
There's law against painting pictures at Willow Hollow?
Now, Henry, you know I got to keep my eyes on things. Wasn't for us brain writers, there'd be all kinds of irresponsibles roaming around. And these artists, they're the worst kind. You know that. You remember there was a day when you were headed for that kind of trouble?
Yeah, I remember. I was pretty good baritone, too. You sure brain wrote me out of that note.
And aren't you better for it? You're a responsible citizen, happily married, well-adjusted, doing a job that's socially useful.
Yeah. What about this fella I'm supposed to investigate?
Name of Arnold Vivian.
And he's been painting up at Willow Hollow?
That's right. Doesn't do anything all day long but paint.
Single?
No wife, no children, no nothing. He just paints.
Well, remember, as long as he just paints, that's legal.
Now, Henry.
Now, don't Henry me, Doc. I'll look into it. That's all I can promise.
All right, that's all I ask. Goodbye, Henry.
Yeah, that's a mighty pretty landscape you're painting.
Why, thank you. Willow Hollow makes a mighty pretty landscape to paint.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's all right. I never mind a little talk when I'm painting. What can I do for you?
Your name Arnold Vivian?
That's right.
I'm Henry Horner, chief of police.
Nice to meet you. Chief of... What seems to be the trouble?
No trouble. I just out here to give you a kind of friendly warning.
About what?
This town of Benton you're in needs new young men, Arnold. If you should happen to get in any trouble here, we got a real fast brain rider who likes to straighten people out.
I don't get into trouble.
Well, just keep in mind we need workers these days. Like our brain rider would say, who needs pictures on canvas?
Who needs pictures on canvas? Why, Mr. Policeman, me. Maybe someday a few others will agree with me.
Well, maybe. I used to be a sort of artistic fella myself. Baritone concert style.
Yeah, I'll bet you're good on a police whistle, too. Don't worry about me, Mr. Horner. Just go back and tell your brain rider. Here's one traveling man he won't ever get to use his scalpel on.
Every Saturday night, Benton has a dance. I usually don't go near it myself because since the brain writing, everybody's pretty well adjusted and ain't any police-type trouble. This Saturday night, though, I dropped in toward the middle of the evening.
Hi, Mr. Horner.
Why, hello, Arnold. Having a good time?
Heck yes. I've been dancing with all the girls. They love me, and I love them.
Staying out of trouble?
The only trouble I ever have is with pictures on canvas.
Well, don't go getting drunk and signing a job contract with Big Fellum at the Brickyard or with Tom Hart, or you'll forget pictures.
I'm immune to job contracts. Also, it may interest you to know that both Mr. Hart and Mr. Fellum each bought a painting for me tonight, paid cash on the barrelhead.
Well, that's a surprise. Well, I wonder what they're up to.
Well, why should they be up to anything? They just like my pictures. I guess they like me, too. They invited me to play poker with them after the dance tonight.
You turned them down, of course.
Heck no. I like taking money from people at poker.
Well, they're more likely to do the taking, and once you're broke, you'll just have to go to work.
Mr. Horner, when are you going to stop worrying about me? I told you I can take care of myself.
And he could, too. When the poker game broke up about 3 a.m., he was the winner. Everybody was griping, all except Doc Royden, who sat there, his close-set eyes glittering behind thick spectacles.
Imagine him taking me for $30. Imagine.
Well, he knows people, he knows cards, he knows women. You're not going to brainwrite that boy.
You want to bet, Henry? You just want to make a little bet.
Whether it's a crowded highway or a narrow street, a smooth, even flow of traffic is one of the essentials of safe driving. Speeding is an obvious hazard, but it can also be suicide. Slowpoke driving is dangerous, too, because it causes rear-end collisions and tempts other motorists into taking deadly chances in passing. The eccentric behavior of the lane switcher, the driver who weaves in and out, often is the cause behind frightful smash-ups. So don't be a cause, and don't be a victim. Arrive alive.
There are two difficulties with the happiness idea. One of them is that actually we need to earn happiness to enjoy it, that we don't really want to work for it. The drug addict has happiness that he doesn't have to work for, really. The other difficulty is happiness in whose terms? Many times, the other fellow figures that you ought to be happy with what he's giving you.
That's right.
Henry, wake up and scoot over to Tony Holland's shack on the edge of the holler.
What's the matter, Doc?
There's been a crime. Get over here as fast as you can.
Somebody's got to keep an eye on our citizens at the police force.
Now, wait a minute.
Well, it's a good thing I was out this way.
Where's Tony?
I gave him a sleep injection. The poor fella, he was bashed on the head and all his savings were stolen. $302.
Well, can't you wake him up so he can tell me himself?
No need. I got all the information you'll want.
Who does he think did it?
He doesn't know, but I've got a good idea.
Yeah, like who?
Well, let's eliminate. It couldn't have been a passing tramp. Since brainwriting, there aren't any. And if you can't say it was anyone in town, they're all adjusted and wouldn't commit no crimes.
So?
There might be somebody around who wanders in the holler in the daytime, poking around and pretending to be what he ain't.
Well, it wasn't Arnold Vivian.
How do you know?
Because he's not that stupid. He knows he'd be the most likely suspect.
Maybe you just better check up on him, Henry.
Doc, you're the brainwriter. They call you in after the maladjusted guy's been caught, but I'm the cop. I run my investigations the way I want, and I'm not going to build a case against Arnold Vivian.
What are you going to do?
You write on brains. Try reading one.
So you figure Doc Royden's trying to frame me, huh?
Looks that way.
That's ridiculous. I just took you people at poker for enough money to live for 3 weeks. Why should I take a chance on getting my head written on?
Have you missed any of your stuff?
Oh, just my pen and pencil set that I lost jumping around at the dance last night. Hey, wait a minute. That'd make a fine clue, wouldn't it, at the scene of the crime?
It sure would.
Well, was it found over there?
Not yet, but it will be. That's not important, though. What is important is this. Tony Holland has one peculiarity. He marks $20 bills. Figures he can follow how the money goes around town that way. Now, you don't draw any money from the local bank or in salary, so you just better not have any local $20 bills marked by Tony.
Hey, whose side are you on?
I used to sing baritone, remember?
Police, I like you.
Artist, I kind of like you, too.
Henry, look what we found at Tony's. Look here.
Yeah, I know. You found a clue, a pen or a pencil or both. We know all about it, Doc. Arnold, I better run you in, at least until we can investigate further. It'll look better.
Why, certainly. No trouble at all, Mr. Horner. Glad to come along.
I pressed for a hearing right away, figuring that Arnold could be cleared and then leave town. He figured the same, that it wasn't healthy to hang around a place that needed new talent so bad.
The hearing went real fine. From the start, I testified that Arnold had been fast asleep at the time the crime was committed, and I swore that the pen and pencil had been planted in Tony's house. Then suddenly they were talking about marked $20 bills.
Well, I couldn't possibly have any 20s, Judge. I just told you, there's absolutely no way that I could have... Unless... No. Let me out of here! Let me out of here! It's a frame-up! It's a frame-up, I tell you!
There is no tool that is either good or evil. There's nothing that in itself is good or bad. It's the way it's used. Logic is a wonderful thing, of great value to man and his progress. But in this trial here, you've seen what can be done with logic when someone is out to prove what he wants to prove and is not in the slightest interested in getting the truth.
There's just one thing I want to say. I've seen a lot of raw deals, but the way you have it here with the singing cop to set it up is the slickest I ever saw. You win.
As chief of police, I had to be present at the brain writing. Doc's nurse gave Arnold the needle jab in the back of the neck, and after that he sat there like a stone man, able to hear but paralyzed. Now, Henry, there we are. Yes, the clay model is ready to take the impressions from Arnold's brain, so we'll have an exact duplicate. Now we put this cap on Arnold's head so the electronic fingers in it can do the measuring. That's a good boy. It won't take long now. Attach these wires to the automatic computer that we put above the clay model, and there we are. An exact model of Arnold's brain. All right, let's take a look. Oh, me, oh, my. There's a brain that needs writing. All right. Look here, you see that? Decayed memory spots. Artistic imagination, decayed sensory impressions, quite useless in an adjusted society. Now, we just take the scalpel and start doing away with these 6 synapses in the brain model, substituting good ones. Isn't that what we do, Henry? Yeah, that's what we do, all right. You erase the bad ones and carve some good ones, and then when his own brain gets the impression, the guy's adjusted from then on. Everybody does what they should, and they don't need no religion, no morals, no psychology, nothing. Just brain writing, and the world's work gets done. Now, Henry, you always miss the most important part. After I get rid of the illogical synapses, I do one special cut with my stylus. There, I'm doing it now. And that's the happiness effect. Then your adjusted man not only does what he ought to, he's happy about it. There we are. Oh, that looks beautiful. Oh, that looks almost like the master brain. Let me get it and show it to you, Henry. It's real interesting. I'll be back in a second. Arnold, I sure wish I could help you. Wait a minute. Maybe I can. I'm going to try to put back some of those synapses he cut out. Here's the scalpel. Yeah, there's one he did. Here's another. Maybe I can help you keep some of your artistic talent, Arnold. Yeah, here's a final one. That one day, Henry will be able to duplicate this master brain in everyone. It's brilliant. Take a look at it while I prepare for the transference from the clay model to Arnold's brain. It sure is fine looking, this master brain. Yes. Now, we're ready to go? Now, Henry, when I close this switch, the new brain shape will flash the signal to the cap on Arnold's head. The electronic fingers will dig in, and he'll have a new brain. Oh, I tell you, Henry, this is the real moment of birth. Most people are born wrong for this world. This is where they get right. All right, here we go. It's going to hurt a little. Well, Henry, we did it. We created a useful citizen. So 6 months went by, and it looked as if Doc was right. Arnold took a job, settled down, and got himself married, and then...
Henry, have you seen that picture exhibition up at the town hall?
Picture exhibition? No, Doc. What's it about?
Arnold, Vivian, the sneak. Pictures of me, holding me up to ridicule. I'll be the laughing stock of this town. You've got to stop it.
Well, there's nothing illegal about pictures, Doc, but come on, let's take a look. We went to the town hall, and there was the neatest collection of pictures you ever saw. Arnold had painted Doc Royden more than 50 times, and in each picture he cut the basic evil of the man. Doc was shown at the council meeting, at church, at the dance, his face revealing every grimace of deceit, power, lust, conniving. Every picture was titled The Happiness Effect, and everyone was marked sold already. I knew then and there that Doc Royden was finished in Benton.
Henry, please, I'm too old to start over in another town. I've got to stay in Benton. Please, Henry, get rid of those pictures.
Why, Doc, it sounds to me like you're maladjusted to your environment. You ought to be brain-ridden with a happiness effect. Henry, man, I've been looking all over for you. I wanted to tell you thanks for using Doc's scalpel to save a piece of my talent. Why, it was a pleasure, Arnold. Thanks to you for giving us back a little human dignity. A lot of people tend to think that happiness is something you have. But I think it isn't. I think it's more in the nature of something you do. You know, the founders of our country were no fools. And in the Declaration of Independence, they said that men had certain inalienable rights, among which were the pursuit of happiness. No man has ever declared that happiness itself is a right of man. The pursuit of happiness is. It's worth working for.
Join us for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Mason Adams, Charlie Holmes, and Lawson Zerbe. Script was taken from a story by Raymond Banks. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Bill Maher speaking.
We pause now for station identification.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend the steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Hey, gang, here's a story for you that's so thrilling, I'll bet you'll be telling all your friends about it. It's about one of the adventures of one of the smallest Marines in the service. They call him Half-Pint in the Marines. You see, Half-Pint is only 5 feet 7 inches tall, and he weighs about 150 pounds. But, fellas, it isn't size that counts in this man's army, it's strength. This Half-Pint was strong as a bearcat, and in A1 condition. One rainy day in the jungles of Guadalcanal, he volunteered for patrol duty to catch some jacks, and they put him in charge of the group. It was raining cats and dogs that morning. Okay, fellas, you checked your equipment? All right, now, listen. 3 Japs are reported within sniping range. We've got to go and get them. Come on, let's go. Hey, look over here. Footprints in front of you. Looks like about 8 Japs. Expect they're in that village over there. Quiet, they'll hear us. Now, let's amble around the village and find out where those Japs are and let them have it. Come on, gang. We've got to crawl through the bush. They're in that hut over there. Listen. Everybody set? Let's go! And the Marines did it again. Half-Pint and his patrol wiped out that Jap nest. Which just goes to show, fellas, that you don't have to be big to be tough. And that brings up a point I want to make. You can't expect to be sturdy and strong unless you eat right, which includes getting all your vitamins. And today, hundreds of fellas and girls are starting to get 2 very important vitamins, D1 and D, by sitting down to a swell big bowl of delicious Kellogg's Pep for breakfast. Have you tasted those crunchy nut sweet flakes yet? Well, believe me, you'll certainly go for the real hearty flavor of crisp, delicious Pep. So ask your mother to get you a package of swell-tasting Kellogg's Pep tomorrow. And make Kellogg's Pep your special breakfast cereal.
And now, the adventures of Superman. As you remember, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Editor Perry White went out to the Metropolis aircraft plant to witness a test of an amazing robot pilot, a mechanical man designed by Dr. Liveright. They found the mechanical man to be almost human, equipped with eyes, ears, and even a brain. Responding to the orders of Dr. Liveright, the mechanical man took off alone in a single-seat open cockpit plane and disappeared into the sky. 20 minutes later, the plane came down with a screaming dive and crashed on the field. When the wreckage was examined, the cockpit was found to be empty. The Tin Man had vanished. Later, while an investigation of the mysterious occurrence was being conducted, Lois accepted an invitation to view the aircraft plant with Professor Jorgensen, a scientist employed there. As our last episode ended, Professor Jorgensen was showing Lois the huge wind tunnel in which new train models are tested when... But wait. Listen.
Professor, that fan is starting up.
Yes, I see. We've got to get out of here quickly. Come on.
Yes, Professor, I can't move forward. I'm being dragged back toward the fan.
Great heavens, so am I. The fan is spinning in reverse. It's the suction I spoke of.
What do we do? It's pulling me back.
Fall down, quickly.
Yes, but I'm still being pulled backwards.
Don't steal hooks in the floor. That's where the planes are anchored. Grab hold of one. Grab hold. Hold on, Miss Lane. Hold on if you value your life.
The suction is getting more and more powerful. I don't know how long I can hold on.
You got to hold on. We both got to. If we don't, we'll be stuck. If we don't, we'll be stuck. If we don't, we'll be stuck.
I don't know how long I can hold on.
You got to hold on. We both got to. If we don't, we'll be sucked back into the whirling blaze of that fan.
Oh, this is horrible. I can't stand much more of it. If only Superman were here. But he's not. He's not.
Meanwhile, at the very moment that Lois was wishing Superman was present in the guise of Clark Kent, he is talking with one of the machinists in the aircraft plant's machine shop.
Now, let me get this straight, Mr. Kent. You want to know if I believe the mechanical pilot, the Tin Man, is actually possible, is that it?
Yes, you worked on it. You helped construct it. I thought perhaps you could tell me a little something about it.
I'm afraid not, sir. That is not any more than you already know. You see, us workmen just built the mechanical body.
Yes, I know. Tell me, did you ever see this so-called brain that Dr. Liveright guards so carefully?
Well, just once, that's all. I went into his cottage one day to get a blueprint I needed, and he was working on the brain then. I didn't see much, though, just a mass of wires, switches, that sort of thing. And that's funny.
What? What's funny?
Through the window there, look. The red light is on outside the wind tunnel.
And what's so funny about that?
Just that I happen to know we ain't testing nothing over there today. That red light means the wind machine is working for everybody to keep out. Yeah. And I was sure I saw Professor Jorgensen and Miss, what's her name, a reporter girl?
Lane.
That's right. I thought I saw them go in there 10 or 15 minutes ago.
Maybe you did.
I think I better go over and have a look. Nobody's supposed to be fooling around in there without permission, you know. Not even Professor Jorgensen's supposed to turn that fan on. It's too dangerous. Hey, excuse me.
That's quite all right. I'm glad you left. Something tells me this may be a job for Superman. Out of these clothes. There, so. And out through this door. Now, up, and away! Here's the door to the wind tunnel. I'd better go in. Great Scott. Lois and Professor Jorgensen inside the tunnel hanging on for their lives. Hold on, I'm coming. Better get up into the tunnel first. Oh, the structure's terrific. Hold on till I get to you. For heaven's sake, don't let go.
Can you make it?
Got to hold back with all my might against this terrible suction. Wait a minute. There, Miss Lane, I've got you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, she's fainted. You got here just in time. Now you, Professor.
It doesn't matter. I think I'm finished.
Oh, wait a minute. I got you. There. Now, out. There. Lois is out cold. Well, better leave her that way. But the professor... It's been a great strain for a man his age. He's in pretty bad shape.
Hey, you. Stay where you are. What's going on there?
My machinist friend. I'd better be on my way. I'll just leave these two here. He'll see that Jorgensen gets medical attention. Now, up, and away!
A short time later, after the excitement of Lois's narrow escape has died down, she is sitting in the office of Yates Peterson, president of the Metropolis Aircraft Plant, discussing the incident with Peterson and Clark Kent. Listen.
The most surprising thing I've ever heard of, your being saved like that by Superman. I never really believed Superman existed until today. But then some very strange things have been happening around here. I'm still trying to figure out where that Tin Man disappeared to.
I don't think you'll ever find the answer to that, Mr. Peterson.
I'm afraid you're right, Miss Lane.
Too bad about Professor Jorgensen. He was a nice old man and a brilliant scientist, I understand.
Yes, I'd give a good deal to know who turned on that fan by accident.
That was no accident, Mr. Peterson.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't see how you can believe it was after what Miss Lane has told us.
You mean about the plane that almost ran her and Jorgensen down?
Yes. That and the incident in the wind tunnel. We tried to find the man who was piloting that plane, and I understand he's left the premises. Matter of fact, he turns out to have been a pretty shady character.
That's true. He wasn't living where he said he was, and no one knew him at that address.
And that wind tunnel business. Whoever turned on that fan turned it on deliberately. I'm sure of that.
But why?
Well, I'm not sure myself, but I've got a hunch it's got something to do with Dr. Liverite's Tin Man.
Oh, Mr. Kent, you can't be serious.
I certainly am.
But that sounds ridiculous. Excuse me. Sorry. Hello? Yes, this is Peterson. Oh, yes, Doctor. What's that? Why, that's simply wonderful. How in the world did you do it? And so quickly? Why, that's wonderful. Well, how soon do you think you can have it finished? I see. Excellent, Doctor, excellent. We'll arrange for the trial late tomorrow afternoon. Fine. Yes, right. Goodbye. That was Dr. Liverite. He tells me that by rare good fortune, he's remembered almost the entire formula for the Tin Man's brain.
Say, that is quick work. Is he putting the brain together now?
Yes, he says he's going to get to work on it at once and promises to have it ready by tomorrow afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
His staff are also working on the metal body, and we should be ready for another test late in the afternoon, tomorrow.
Isn't that kind of fast?
Why, no, certainly not. We're anxious to prove or disprove the mechanical man's usefulness as quickly as possible, that's all. Oh, wait, excuse me. I'll be back in a minute. Some arrangements I must make for the test tomorrow.
All right.
What's the matter, Clark? You look a little suspicious.
Well, I am suspicious, though I don't really know why. You know, I don't like half the things that are going on around here, Lois. Take this latest development, for instance.
You mean Dr. Liverite remembering almost the entire formula for the mechanical brain?
Yes. Now, that just doesn't make sense to me.
No, that occurred to me, too. But it's perfectly possible that a man who has invented something should remember what it was he invented.
Well, yes, but what's the hurry about testing the thing? Peterson plans to test the second Tin Man tomorrow afternoon. Why so quickly? You know, scientists are usually very careful men who test everything carefully before giving it the supreme test. But now here these two are going to test...
Well, that's taken care of. By the way, you two will come out tomorrow afternoon for the test?
Oh, I'd certainly like to be there.
Yes, so would I.
More ways than one.
What was that, Clark?
Oh, nothing at all. Well, fine. Show up here tomorrow about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and if Dr. Liverite is successful in completing his second Tin Man, we'll have another test. It'll make quite a scoop for the Daily Planet. Yes, it will indeed. Well, many thanks, Mr. Peterson. Come on, Lois.
Right with you. Come on now, Clark. What are you holding back for?
Oh, I just feel like walking slowly.
Yes, of course he wants to walk slowly, for his keen ears are listening to what is going on in Peterson's office. He has heard Peterson pick up the telephone and ask for Dr. Liverite.
Give me Dr. Liverite.
Come on, Clark, for heaven's sake.
Wait a minute, Lois, while I tie my shoestring.
Kneeling down, pretending to tighten his shoelace, Kent listens.
Hello, Liverite. This is Peterson. Listen, that reporter Kent and the girl, Lois Lane, are getting suspicious. What do you think we ought to do? No, I'm not getting nervous, but... all right. Okay, just as you say. But if they get any nosier, we'll have to do something about them and do it quick. Right. I'll see you later. Bye.
Clark, haven't you finished tying that shoelace yet?
Yes. Just finished, Lois. Let's go.
Well, this is a strange turn of events that begins to shed light on the mystery of the Tin Man. In just a moment, we'll return to the adventures of Superman. But right now, here is another important message.
Say, gang, isn't it a fact that when you get something extra good to eat at breakfast, it kind of gives you a lift for the rest of the day? I know, it sure does for me. And that's why I want to tell you all about that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Because those crisp, golden flakes taste so doggone good that you just can't afford to pass them up. Yes, sir, there's nothing like a big bowl full of crisp, delicious Kellogg's Pep when it comes to downright good eating. What's more, Kellogg's Pep is good for you as well as good to eat. So start right now making delicious Kellogg's Pep part of your regular breakfast, huh? Ask your mother to get you a package of Kellogg's Pep when she's at the store tomorrow. And join the Pep parade right away. Remember, Pep. Get in step. Make your cereal Kellogg's Pep.
And now back to Superman. Unknown to Lois, Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, has overheard a most revealing conversation between Yates Peterson, president of Metropolis Aircraft, and Dr. Liverite, inventor of the Tin Man. What are these two men up to? Can they have had something to do with the disappearance of the first Tin Man and with what happened to Lois and Professor Jorgensen? Superman is determined to get at the bottom of this mystery, so don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode. And listen every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Tune in and follow the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. This is Mutual.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, here's an important date to remember. It's this Sunday when the highly acclaimed program On the Line with Bob Considine premieres on NBC Radio. Behind each news event is a human interest story. And beginning Sunday, you can hear these fascinating sidelights with commentator Bob Considine. You'll also meet the important people who make the headlines, people from the government, labor, and management, or perhaps someone in your own hometown today. The latest news becomes more meaningful when you understand the human interest. So make a day to hear On the Line with Bob Considine. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, The Old Die Rich by H.L. Gold.
The uniformed cop at the door told me to get lost. But Lou Pape spotted me and told the man to let me in. It was a shabby room. They always are. There was a woman on the bed, an old woman with white hair, thin enough to show the tight-drawn scalp. The medical examiner was going over her as if she were a side of beef that you had to put a federal-grade stamp on.
When are you going to stop taking this ham friend of yours around to these cases, Sergeant, just to gratify his morbid curiosity?
Forget about Weldon, Doc. What did she die of?
Not eating, malnutrition.
Oh, now look, Doc, in the top bureau drawer, she had bank books showing $32,000 from 5 different banks. Now, she had the price of a meal.
Malnutrition induced by senile psychosis. They starve because they're less afraid of death than digging into their savings.
I don't know, Doc. It doesn't feel right to me.
Listen, Weldon, just because you get up on a stage or on some half-baked television show and make believe you're 70 years old doesn't qualify you as an expert on gerontology.
Maybe not, Doc. But I went bald at 25, and I've been playing old men ever since. There's a lot more to it than just shuffling around and talking in a high-cracked voice.
Yeah, there hasn't been an actor since Otis Skinner.
Maybe. But the way I work, I have to get inside the character. I have to decide when he was born, how he got along with his father, where he went to school, what he thinks of women, everything about a character.
There isn't a one of them these days can make themselves heard past the 5th row.
Look, I'm serious. Now, I've tried imagining myself growing weak from hunger. I've tried to think of not even spending a nickel to keep me from dying. I just don't believe it. It isn't right. I don't feel it.
Well, lucky for me, I don't have to feel these things inside of me because I'm a doctor and not an actor. Sergeant, malnutrition induced by senile psychosis. I'll order the wicker basket from Bellevue. So long, Barrymore.
Well, he's right, Mark. We get a couple of these cases every year. Some old bat starving to death with $17,000 in old bills pinned on his union suit. Turns up all the time.
Al, it doesn't feel right.
Well, he knows his business.
But he doesn't know old people. I do. It isn't easy to starve to death. Not when you can buy day-old bread at the bakery or wilted vegetables the grocer's ready to throw out. Anyone who's willing to eat that stuff can stay alive from day to day. Hunger is it's a pretty potent instinct.
Maybe they get too sick to go out after old bread or wilted vegetables.
It takes weeks to die of starvation. Did you ever try starving for weeks, Lou?
No, did you?
Well, the point is somebody would find out, a janitor, a landlord, somebody, and they'd get him to a hospital.
Forget about it, Mark. Can't argue with it. Here there were 5 bank books, $32,000.
Yeah, she took good care of them. They look almost new.
Sure she did. Most important thing in the world, huh?
April 23rd, 1907, $150. The ink's pretty dark. Shouldn't it be faded?
She probably never took it out in the light.
Anyone ever think of testing the ink?
What for? Bank's records always check. These aren't forgeries, if that's what you're thinking.
Well, I'd like to get a chemist working on this ink.
Now, Mark. Look, this is strictly against regulations. I got to take these books down to the squad room and sign them in.
Pretty dark ink for 1907.
Well, it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I guess I could hold them over tonight and bring them down to the property clerk in the morning.
Good. I know where I can find a chemist.
Mr. Weldon, there's no doubt of it. The ink sample is typical of inks used 50 years ago. 1907 would be about right.
There, you see, Weldon? I was supposed to go to the Trotters tonight.
But according to the amount of oxidation, it's fresh enough to be only a few months old.
There, I was right.
Well, couldn't that be the result of unusually careful handling, though?
No, yes, I suppose it could. An airtight compartment, perhaps, sealed with one of the inert gases or a vacuum. That might account for the lack of normal aging.
Lou, you can't keep inert gases in a top bureau drawer in a 4th floor walk-up.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably some simple explanation.
For fresh ink, half a century old? I've been going out on these cases for about a year. It's my specialty, playing old people, and when I'm not working television or something on Broadway, I go down to the homes for the aged or the parks or just watch. Lou Pape's an old friend of mine, and he put me on these malnutrition cases. But there was more to it than just picking up color and tricks of the trade. There had to be a better reason for it. You can't just starve to death with upwards of $30,000 right at your fingertips. Not without at least buying a bowl of soup. I had a run of television that kept me busy for about a month. Then Lou Pape called me up and asked me to come down to Bellevue.
I'll autopsy if you want it, Sergeant, but I can give you the cause of death right now. Malnutrition due to senile psychosis.
What's up, Lou?
Well, Mark, an old guy was found wandering around down on Hester Street. Suffering from malnutrition. He had $17,000 in cash inside the lining of his jacket.
Is he alive?
No, not now he isn't. Doc's got him in the room there, but he was stumbling around when the cop on the beat picked him up.
Did he say anything?
Well, he talked to the cop. Pretty smart young kid. Seems the old man kept talking about money, about his wife. She must have been dead 20 years. And then, just before he went out completely, he did say something. Maybe 3 or 4 times.
Well, what was it?
El Greco.
You mean the artist?
Well, that's what Stankiewicz said. He's the officer who picked him up. Said he remembered he'd heard the name on that television quiz program. You know, the jockey who's the art expert.
El Greco.
Probably some Greek restaurant where he was bumming his meals. Are you sure you want an autopsy, Sergeant? It's late. I won't get to it till tomorrow.
All right, take your time, Doc.
There's something else, isn't there, Lou?
Well, maybe, Mark. We found the old guy's room, and there was an ad thumbtacked over the sink. Nothing too unusual.
Yeah?
Here it is.
Men and women wanted, light work suitable for old people. No references required.
Well, I checked it with the lieutenant. He says to forget it. He says it figures for an old guy to be interested in an ad like that.
An old guy with $17,000 in cash?
Yeah. Well, I didn't figure I'd argue with the lieutenant.
You mind if I keep it?
No, go ahead.
It was an old brownstone house in the East 80s. I got in line with the rest of the applicants. My face was lined with collodion wrinkles, and I wore an antique shiny suit and run-down shoes. It was a good makeup job. I looked more authentic than the rest of the old-timers who were waiting for the interview. I finally came up to where a woman was asking the questions.
Name?
Kernet. Louis Kernet. Kernet.
Mm-hmm. Address?
Well, I don't exactly have a place. I've been staying with a fella down on 12th Street, a friend of mine. I met him in the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm. Previous occupation?
Well, I worked at a lot of things. Used to be a printer way back. I could handset...
Do you have any references?
Well...
Family?
No, ma'am. I haven't got any family. I had a cousin in Salt Lake City, but I haven't seen him in 30 years or more. The ad said you didn't need no references.
Well, that's right. Now, will you wait in the other room?
Yes, ma'am. Do I get the job, ma'am?
Just wait in the other room.
I shuffled into the other room and sat down to wait. I concentrated on building a character for Louis Kernet. If I was going to carry this through, I was going to have to play a better performance than I'd ever given before. About half an hour, a young woman came into the room. I'd planned to be dozing the way an old man would, and so my eyes were closed when I heard the door close. When I opened them, I was looking into the barrel of a .38 revolver.
Are you awake now, Mr. Weldon?
Huh? Ma'am?
I don't think you need to carry on anymore. If you need any further convincing, you are Mark Weldon. You're about 40 years old, and you played this same character on television about 6 weeks ago. You played it fairly well.
Thank you. Would you mind putting down that gun?
Yes. Why did you apply for this position, Mr. Weldon? You're not old. Not really.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was a bet. I was having an argument about the method with an actor who trained at the Old Vic. I bet him that I could Well, I could get by off the stage.
Yeah, well, don't bother. You've been very busy recently trying to find out why senile psychotics starve themselves to death.
How did you know that?
Well, I happen to know that you've been present at several police investigations into these cases, and you're a good friend of Sergeant Lou Pate.
Well, you know a great deal more about me than I do about you.
Well, I would be glad to enlighten you. My name is May Roberts. I'm the daughter of the late Dr. Anthony Roberts, the physicist, who was dismissed from the Brookhaven Atomic Energy Laboratory 5 years ago.
I assume you're connected with these starvation cases, or you wouldn't have known I was investigating them.
Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I'm not afraid of professional detectives, Mr. Weldon. They deal only with facts. But I don't like amateurs. They guess too much. They don't stick to reality. Consequently, they're likely to get too close to the truth.
Unfortunately, Miss Roberts, I'm nowhere near the truth. I haven't the slightest idea how you're tied in with those starvation
Well,
deaths.
I intend to show you, Mr. Weldon. I'm happy to announce that you have the job.
Now, look,
Don't move, Mr. Weldon. Oh, incidentally, about 15 minutes ago, I called Sergeant Pate and told him I was your sister just in from Pittsburgh. I wanted to get in touch with you very badly, and Sergeant Pate was very sorry. He wished he could help me, but he didn't have the slightest idea where you were. All right, Mr. Weldon. Right ahead of you, please. Through that door.
She didn't look like the kind of girl who would forget to hold the gun on me as I went down the hall. So that's all I did, just go down the hall. I climbed up to the 4th floor to a large room. There was a maze of electrical equipment bolted down, tubes and wires and dials. In the middle of the room was a wire mesh cage. She kept that gun on me, steady as a rock. She began to set readings on the dials and flip switches on the control panel.
It'll take about 5 minutes for the field to build up, Mr. Weldon. Please get in the cathode area.
You mean that wire cage?
Go ahead.
All right.
Now, I wouldn't advise moving now, Mr. Weldon. The wire carries some 10,000 volts.
Now, look, Miss
Mr.
Roberts.
Weldon, you're curious, and you could turn out to be a great nuisance to me. As long as you've come this far, we might as well both benefit by it.
Benefit?
You'll find a suit of clothes on the floor there. Put it on.
But after all...
Put it on.
I didn't know whether she was bluffing about the electric charge, but the revolver looked real enough, so I stripped and changed into the other clothes. The shoes were a little too tight and pointed. The collar of the shirt was too stiffly starched and too high under my chin. The suit was too narrow at the shoulders and at the ankles. I remember my father had a suit like that. The same shiny blue serge.
All right. In your pocket, you'll find a set of envelopes. You'll find a set of instructions on each. Follow them carefully.
I don't get it.
You will. Use the envelopes in the order they're arranged.
What's this all about?
Mr. Weldon, I meant it when I said this could be a benefit to both of us. There's no use explaining anything. You'll find out. And don't try to escape. It can't be done. All right. Now the field generators are ready.
Look, Miss Roberts, this is absolutely...
Just follow instructions, Mr. Weldon.
I blinked. I was standing outside a bank on a sunny day in spring. I stared at the people passing by. They were dressed like the characters in a 1930 movie. The women wore long dresses and flower pot hats. Men had hard straw hats, suits with narrow shoulders. Cars were square with flat radiators in the front. There was a trolley car passing by, and suddenly I realized that the last trolley car stopped running in Manhattan years ago. I tried to figure it out. It was New York, all right. I recognized some of the buildings. First, I figured it must have been hypnosis. And then I looked at the first of the envelopes in my pocket. I read it and walked into the bank.
Yes, sir. Our Mr. Golden tells me that you wish to open an account.
Yes, that's right.
Uh-huh. Well, we're very happy to have a new depositor. Very happy indeed. Of course, you realize the institution is in sound condition, very sound. You needn't worry about all those rumors in this bank. No, sir. Solid.
Well, that's good.
All right, now then, name? Mark Weldon. You have no address in the city at present?
No.
And you're depositing $150?
That's right.
All righty. I'll just check the slip here. $150, right. And the date, May 15th, of course, 1931.
31? The Depression.
Oh, now, Mr. Weldon, this is a very good year for business. This temporary recession is bound to abate. Sound banking policies will see us through. It's just around the corner, you know.
What is?
Prosperity. All right, Mr. Weldon, we're very happy to have your account.
I went outside the bank and I stood there in the spring sunlight and let the terror soak into me. Possibility of the entire situation was gnawing at the edges of my mind. And then suddenly I wasn't there. It was as fast as blinking. I was outside another bank in the same city. The date on the next envelope was May 29th, and it was still 1931. I made a $75 deposit there and then $100 at another place a few days later, spending a few minutes each time and going ahead anywhere from a couple of days to almost a month. In 1934, I found myself inside a broker's office.
Very well, Mr. Weldon. As I understand it, you are buying this stock for a Dr. Anthony Roberts.
That's right.
I assume the stock will be in his name?
That's right. I'm just acting as agent. I follow instructions.
Of course. Well, are you sure I can't convince you that you're making a big mistake?
No, these are my instructions.
Well, now, Mr. Weldon, we are a reputable brokerage house, and, well, frankly, I feel quite shaky about putting our clients' money into this kind of security. There's no future in it. It's a rare metal for which there is very little use for industrial purposes, and, however, if your client is adamant.
I have my instructions.
Very well, then. In the name of Dr. Anthony Roberts, 100 shares of Montana uranium. Most unwise.
It went that way about 50-50. I'd deposit money in my own name in various banks at other times. Then I'd buy a stock or make a bet for May Roberts. On June 21st, 1932, I bet Jack Sharkey to take the heavyweight title away from Max Schmeling. There was Singing Wood in 1933 at Belmont Park and Max Bayer over Primo Carnera. I went on skipping through the years, touching here and there for a few minutes to an hour at a time. It was in early October 1938, about 5 hours after I'd left May Roberts' house, before I realized what she had me doing. It was making deposits and winning sure bets, just as those senile psychotics had done. The ink on their bank book seemed fresh because it was fresh. It wasn't given a chance to oxidize. The rate I was going, I'd be back at my own time in a few hours with $15,000 compound interest in cash. But those old people had died of starvation somehow with all that cash in banks. I didn't know how it happened or why. But suddenly it occurred to me that I didn't want to be found dead in my hotel room. So rather than make the deposit in 1938, I grabbed a cab and told the driver to step on it. I got a mile away from the bank, and then the cab suddenly disappeared. I found myself in front of a counter at a lunchroom. The envelope instructed me to make a bet on the World Series. There wasn't any way to get out of the range of the machine. It picked me up at least 5 miles away from where I was supposed to be. Came back a week later to get my winnings. I was hungry, so I got myself a hamburger and went out the door. When I hit the sidewalk, it happened again.
Don't touch the cage yet, Mr. Weldon. I'll have to clear the charge.
Hey, what happened to my hamburger?
What?
The hamburger. I had it here. It's gone. I'm hungry.
I'll get you something to eat, Mr. Weldon, before your next trip. Well, you've done pretty well for yourself, haven't you?
Yes, I have. About 15,000. I had ketchup on my sleeve. It's gone.
Mr. Weldon, I want to talk seriously with you. Now you've seen part of what I'm doing.
Part?
My father was discharged from all his research and university connections because he insisted in publishing his findings on the temporal field research. All the conventional physicists explained that it was overwork and recommended everything from hot bouillon before retiring to psychoanalysis. Well, possibly both of these might have been beneficial. But the fact of the matter is that temporal field activities are quite true, and you've seen proof.
Well, I suppose I have.
So it seemed just a question of money, although obviously I can get all I need now.
But sending people back through time to bet on sure things like uranium...
It's a fair exchange. I pay well for service, don't I?
I suppose so.
But that isn't the most important thing. I've been able to save things that would have been lost otherwise. I've sent people back to find precious treasures that would have been destroyed or would have disappeared.
Like an El Greco painting?
Yes. And the original score of Mozart's Magic Flute that would have been burned in 1942, and a Picasso miniature that would have been lost at sea in 52. I have them all here.
Stolen?
No. Bought with money from the year itself at a fair price. Well, Mr. Weldon, I sent you back because I've needed someone to work with me on a regular basis. Someone who's faster and more alert than the old people I've hired till now.
Why old people?
It's a function of the field. You can't send somebody back to a year in which they didn't exist at all.
I'm hungry.
Please, Mr. Weldon, this is very important. My father died trying to prove the validity of his field theory to conventional scientists, and I don't intend to bother. We can become the most powerful people in the world.
I don't feel very powerful now. You haven't got a sandwich hanging around.
I want to make you an offer, Mr. Weldon. I need someone to help me expand the operation, plan the projects and research. I chose you because I was afraid that you might hit on the truth by yourself.
Can I come out of this cage
Be careful.
now?
Don't touch the contacts. The field reacts on a random factor for at least an hour after it's cut off.
I'll be careful. Tell me, Miss Roberts, why haven't you been able to go back to the time that your father was alive and bring him back before he died?
Dead tissue can't be transported. We tried it with mice and rabbits from a laboratory in 1941, and they just disappear.
Like my hamburger.
Mr. Weldon, I assume that you're interested and that we can make our plans without using this revolver.
I hope so. $15,000 is a lot of money. Of course, you were able to send those old people back a lot further.
Some of them as far back as 1880.
How long would they be gone? I mean, in subjective time.
Several weeks. Perhaps a month or more.
There's only one problem, Miss Roberts.
Well, I'm sure we can work out any details.
Well, this one is a little hard to work out. You see, I'm hungry. I haven't been this hungry since I got lost on a hunting trip and went without food for 3 days. You see, you forget I've got an interest in this business because they found some old people dead of malnutrition and $30,000 or so tucked away in their pockets. They had been gone a month or more, and they had to eat during that time, didn't they? When they came back, the food disappeared like my hamburger. It disappeared all at once, all over their body. In one fast jolt, they starved to death.
No, you don't understand. They just couldn't take the field transition. They were too old, some of them, and they lied to me about their age to get the job.
Oh, no, you can't tell me that because I know how hungry I am. And I was only gone about 12 hours. They were murdered.
Get back.
You know, they say a hungry man gets mighty desperate. He'll do almost anything. Let go. Let go. Let go of it.
Oh, my arm.
Look out. Look out. The cage. The contact. She fell into that cage and disappeared before she hit the ground. I didn't know what happened. I know she said the field worked in a random factor, whatever that meant. I called Lou Pate, he came to the house just after the fire started. Something went in the control panel, and it turned out to be a 4-alarm fire before they got it under control. There was nothing left of the machine. There wasn't much left of the brownstone house. Lou didn't believe the story I told him.
You mean there won't be any more of them? No more senile psychotics starving to death with a bankroll in their hip pocket?
No, I told you, Lou.
Come on now, Mark. We'll get plenty more. We always have.
No, I'll bet you won't. I'll bet you $1 there won't be another case like that.
I'll take that bet.
I lost the bet. There was one more case, and perhaps it was the strangest one. A woman was found wandering in Bryant Park just before she died of acute starvation. One strange thing was she was young, not more than 30. And the other was she had $17,000 stuffed in her pocketbook and a bullet wound in her arm the medical examiner said was at least 2 months old. I guess that's what she meant by the random factor.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features This Way to the Regress by Damon Knight. The story of a man named Sullivan who, strangely enough, did not have a great future behind him, but rather a great past ahead. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. In a moment, tonight's cast and a preview of next week's exciting drama. Farmers know they can't stop storms, floods, or droughts from ruining a crop. But they can make sure things like that can't ruin them by investing in United States savings bonds. Not only farmers, but over 40 million Americans in all sorts of jobs own 40 billions of savings bonds. And why? Because savings bonds are the easy way to start saving and to keep saving. And the money you invest in savings bonds mean protection now and ready cash when you need it in the future. Improving the farm, sending the youngsters to college, or planning your own retirement. These are the big things you can be ready for with savings bonds. And besides offering you a safe investment, each Series E savings bond pays you back $4 at maturity for every $3 you invest. Yes, you earn extra dollars while you save, so start saving now. For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Old Die Rich, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by H.L. Gold and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Jim Bowles, Jan Miner, Bill Zuckert, Guy Repp, Wendell Holmes, Ralph Camargo, and Ivor Francis. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Bob Maurer and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise shift. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Rocket Cruiser Taurus from Central Spaceport Control. Rocket Cruiser Taurus from Central Spaceport Control. You are overdue on position check. Come in, please. Rocket Cruiser Taurus from Central Spaceport Control. Check in. Taurus, acknowledge. Great Jupiter, something's wrong. Hello, Spaceport Control to all stations. Disaster alert. Rocket Cruiser Taurus overdue and unreported. Begin search operations immediately.
As the harsh, clanging signal of the distress alert is flashed out into space, all emergency elements of the Solar Guard go into immediate action. Radar scanners on Venus, Earth, and Mars sweep the void. Rocket scouts and rocket destroyers blast off at full space speed, searching for a trace of the missing ship. Back in Spaceport Control at Space Academy, all elements are fused into one giant coordinated effort.
Rocket Scout 7J4 from Spaceport Control. Cover northwest quadrant Mars orbit. Maintain communications with 9J3 and 8J6 on your flanks. That is all. Weather Station 9 Mars from Spaceport Control. Maintain double watch on all radar scanners. Contact Rocket Cruiser Orion and Rocket Scout 6J5 and event to site target. That is all.
Afternoon, Lieutenant Fremont. I understand you have orders for me from Commander Arkwright.
Yes, Captain Strong. Here they are. You're to alert your crew and prepare to blast off immediately.
What's that?
The Taurus, one of the ships that was bringing the children in from Titan Colony, is unreported.
Unreported?
Almost 2 hours overdue on its last position check. Commander Arkwright seems to think that the crew has been hit by the Titan disease. Now she's drifting off course somewhere.
Great Galaxy, the children.
Exactly. They're absolutely helpless. And if we don't find the ship soon, they'll catch the disease.
If the ship isn't hit by a stray meteor first.
Well, we've alerted every ship we have. You'll be taking Dr. Lee with you. We're sending medicos on every search ship to inoculate the children with a new serum.
Right. Hey, wait a minute. According to these orders, I'm getting a replacement for Cadet Corbett.
Yes, he's just recovering from the disease himself, isn't he?
Yes, but he's almost well. I want him along on this operation.
Well, you'll have to take that up with the commander, sir.
Well, don't worry, Fremont. I will, and right now. The Polaris unit is the best rocket team in the Academy, and it isn't going to be broken up if I can help it.
Well, if it isn't the hotshot CO of the Muff Brigade.
That's enough out of you, Astro. How's Tom?
Pretty good. He's sleeping, so you're just in time to take over.
Take over?
Sure, in case he needs anything.
Now, look, Astro, I've been scrubbing decks and polishing brass till I'm blue in the face. And if you think I'm going to play nursey to Corbett now, you're off your orbit.
Well, the doc said Tom should stay in bed and get plenty of rest.
Hey, how can I get any rest with you two yapping away like that?
Oh, hi, Tom. How do you feel?
Fine.
What's all the argument about?
From the way this Venusian hillbilly's been giving orders, you'd think he was the class representative or something.
As a matter of fact, Roger, he is temporarily.
What do you mean?
Well, the student council is meeting tonight, and since I won't be able to attend, I've appointed Astro to sit in my place.
You appointed Astro? What does that dumb Venusian know about student government?
Hey, fellows, it's Captain Strong.
Attention! Stand easy, boys. Tom, how do you feel?
Okay, sir.
Oh, why shouldn't he? Lying around the sack all day.
Oh? And how do you feel, Manning?
Huh? Why, all right, sir.
Then I don't think you've been working hard enough. Maybe you'd better scrub down the decks all over again.
Oh, no.
Ah, you and your big mouth.
And maybe you'd better help him, Astro.
Here, grab a mop, Junior.
Never mind that now. We'll postpone discipline until this operation is over.
What operation, sir?
The rocket cruiser Taurus, carrying 50 evacuated children from Titan, is missing. We've got to join in the search.
Hey, hand me my fatigues quick, Astro.
Wait a minute, Tom. Are you sure you feel strong enough?
Well, of course, sir.
Well, Commander Arkwright wanted me to replace you.
Oh, no.
Oh, Tom will be okay, sir, and we can spell him. Give him plenty of chance to rest.
How do you feel about it, Manning?
We gotta take Tom with us, sir. Talking to this Venusian hillbilly is no fun.
What?
I can do it, sir. Believe me, I can.
All right. I'll clear it with Commander Arkwright. But don't let me down. Remember, a rocket ship crew is only as strong as each man.
I can pull my load, Skipper. Don't worry.
Right. Then report to the Polaris with full space gear immediately. We blast off in exactly 30 minutes.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Say, Spaceman, I was talking to Astro the other morning down at the Space Academy mess hall. You know, Astro is in charge of the power deck on the Polaris, and that's mighty hard work. Well, anyway, when I caught up with him the other morning, he was having breakfast. Say, Astro, give me the lowdown. How do you keep up your steam working on that power deck?
Well, you see what I'm eating? Kellogg's Pep. Now, a lot of people don't realize the connection between work and food. What you eat and when you eat are important to how well you do your work. Now, that's why I tell everybody start each day with plenty of Kellogg's Pep. Pep gives you needed vitamins. Everybody needs vitamin D and vitamin B1 to keep in good shape. And Kellogg's Pep gives you a supply of both. Pep gives you lots of other food values, too. Food values that you put to work so you can do a good job. Now, that's why I eat Pep. Kellogg's Pep gives you more build-up food values than any other wheat flakes. And that's just what I need to handle the big burners down on the power deck. You spacemen take a tip from me. Sock away plenty of Kellogg's Pep. It helps you hustle, and besides, it tastes real good.
Well, you heard the man, Spaceman. Tomorrow morning, eat Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Blasting off on a space-wide search for a missing rocket cruiser carrying evacuated children from Titan, the crew of the Polaris roars past the orbit of Mars, heading for the last known position of the lost ship. And in the crew's quarters, Tom undergoes a physical checkup by Dr. Lee, the medical officer accompanying them on the search.
Well, how about it, sir? Everything's okay, isn't it?
Yes, Cadet Corbett. You're getting along as well as can be expected. I suggest you get a little more rest, though. You overdone it a bit.
Well, I don't feel tired, sir. And I'm only standing 3-hour watches. Roger and Astro are covering for me.
You still need rest. Cut down your watches to 2 hours. All right, you may go. Check back with me again this evening.
This evening?
That's right, Corbett.
Oh, but Dr. Lee, I'm not that sick, honest.
I want to keep you from being that sick, Corbett. Frankly, I wouldn't have permitted you to make this trip. But now that you're here, I intend to see that you're not a drag on the crew.
Oh, well, very well, sir.
You may return to your station, but remember, maintain a 2-hour watch. No longer.
Well, Tom, what did Dr. Lee say?
Oh, the same thing, sir. I'm all right, but take it easy. He says any excitement would start the fever up again.
Well, he should know. So you'd better follow his orders pretty closely.
Gosh, I haven't been any help on this trip at all, have I? Everybody's been put to double duty because I haven't been able to stand my own watch.
Don't worry about that. We'll get along.
Well, how are the fellows holding up, sir? They must be pretty tired.
I'm afraid Astro is beginning to crack under the strain. Listen.
Rocket fields of the Academy to the far-flung stars of outer space, where space cadets training to be.
I see what you mean, sir.
Yeah, I better go down below and relieve him for a while. Think you can handle the control deck alone? Everything's on automatic.
Oh, it'll be easy, sir.
Tom, are you sure you're all right? You look kind of pale.
It's nothing, sir.
Well, I'll send Astro up here right away.
Oh, no, please, sir. He needs rest. I promise you, if I don't feel well, I'll call you.
All right, Tom. It's 0900 now. You'll be relieved in 3 hours.
Oh.
Yes, Tom?
Well, nothing, sir. See you in 3 hours.
Radar bridge control deck, check in. Radar bridge to control deck, check in.
Huh? Control deck guy. Go ahead, Roger.
What's the matter, Tom? Why'd you answer me?
Oh, I was doing something. Any news of the Taurus, Chef?
No, but I'm picking up something else on my scanner. A nice fat hunk of space junk.
Space junk. We on collision course?
No, but you better change our heading to make sure. I'd like to give these babies plenty of elbow room.
Okay, what's the course?
Hey, you sound funny. What's the matter with you?
Nothing. Come on, give me that change.
Okay, don't bite my head off. Set steering vanes 2 degrees starboard. Past the front of the meteor.
Okay.
2 degrees starboard. Got it?
Yeah, got it. End transmission. 2 degrees. Whew. Awfully hot in here. I wish I could shake the cobwebs out. Now, let's see. What did he say? Oh, yes. 2 degrees to port. Control deck to power deck. Check in.
Lower deck guy. Go ahead.
Standby steering rocket, sir. We're changing course.
Why? What's the matter?
We're passing too close to a meteor, sir. Roger wants more clearance. It's all right, Skipper. I made the corrections. Just give me a short blast.
All right. Standing by.
Ready? Now. That did it, sir. We're all set.
Good work, Tom. I'll have Astro relieve you now.
Right, sir. Thank you. Control deck out. Boy, I didn't realize how tired I was. I'll be glad to get that back. Control deck guy.
Hey, Tom, are you space happy? You turned the ship the wrong way. We're on a collision orbit with that meteor.
What? Well, give me a new course, quick.
Too late. Hang on. Here she comes.
Roger, you're all right.
Yeah, no damage up here. We're lucky she only swiped the cistern. How's everybody below?
Hold on. I'll check. Stand by. Control the power deck. Come in. Captain Strong, this is Corbett. Come in, please. Roger, there's no answer. Come on down. Hurry. They may be hurt. Captain Strong, where are you? Captain Strong.
Over here, Tom. Near the starboard rocket head. Turn on the emergency light.
Oh, what is it, sir? Are you hurt?
My leg, I can't move it.
Hey, Galaxy, Tom, what hit us?
A meteor. Are you okay?
Just a couple of bumps, and Dr. Lee's all right. He's trying to untangle himself from his bunk.
Okay. Give me a hand with Captain Strong. He's hurt.
Right.
No, Astro. Check the power deck controls first. Find out what the damage is. I can hold on another minute.
Yes, sir. Our main drive is cut out, but that might have been the emergency circuit breaker. I'll fire up the tubes again and see what happens. Rocket's firing okay. Uh-oh. Auxiliary power's gone, sir.
Then we'll have to operate the ship manually?
Yes, sir, and the airlocks, too.
Oh, great. This is all my fault. I didn't take the right heading.
Well, let's not worry about that now, Tom. Give me a hand. I think Dr. Lee better look at...
Captain Strong.
Tom, he's passed off.
We'll get Dr. Lee down here quick. Gosh, Astro, I feel like the lowest and most stupid earthworm that ever crawled. What a mess we're in now, and it's all my fault.
Stop fusing your tubes, Tom. It isn't that bad. Our rockets are still firing. We'll be able to get back to Marsport okay. And the radar bridge is working off the emergency battery.
Yeah, but look what's happened to Captain Strong. And we have to give up the search for the Taurus.
Well, it's just one of those things. Maybe you'd better get some rest now.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Hey, here's Dr. Lee.
Doctor, how's Captain Strong?
He's resting, Corbett. I gave him a sedative.
Is he badly hurt?
Well, he's not critically injured, if that's what you're thinking. It's his leg. It's broken. Pain and shock made him black out. He'll be all right once we get him to sick bay. You've sent a course back to Earth, haven't you?
Mars, sir. It's closer. We can make repairs there.
Very well. And now, Corbett, I think you'd better lie down for a while.
Oh, no, sir. I'm okay.
Don't you think you've caused enough trouble?
Oh.
Dr. Lee, I don't mean to be disrespectful, sir, but that's not fair.
Sorry, I didn't mean it the way it sounded, but obviously Corbett's weakened condition led to his error.
Of course, sir. You're right.
Radar bridge control deck, check in, quick.
Oh, what's wrong now? Control deck guy. Go ahead, Roger.
I just picked up a ship on my telescanner. It's the Taurus.
The Taurus? Are you sure, Roger?
Yeah, positive.
Oh, great. We find the ship we're looking for, and we can't do a blasted thing to help her. Yeah, that's the Taurus, all right, Roger. And she's dark, just drifting without power. Looks pretty bad, Tom. And you haven't been able to contact her at all? Not a peep out of her. Well, how about the other search ships? Can you reach them? Not a chance. I don't have enough power, and I'm draining the emergency batteries fast. Yeah, well, you better shut down everything then. We can watch the Taurus through the viewport. Right. Well, what now? That ship over there is carrying 40 kids. They need the serum. How do we reach it? I don't know, Roger. Without auxiliary power, we can't use our magnetic couplers. We can't even open our main airlock to take them aboard. And they certainly don't have enough spacesuits to transfer through the emergency hatches. But if we go back to Marsport, the kids may not last until another rescue ship can get back here. I know. Hey, wait a minute. Huh? Wait for what? Never mind. I'll see you later. Where are you going? For a walk. I'll see you later. A walk? Huh. That character really is sick. Radar bridge, aye.
Roger, this is Astro.
Yeah, what do you want?
Where's Tom?
I don't know. Isn't he on the control deck?
No. At least if he is, he isn't answering the intercom.
Funny. Say, you don't suppose he blacked out again, do you?
We'd better double check.
Wait a minute. Here's Dr. Lee. Maybe he's seen Tom.
Manning, where's Corbett?
Huh? You too?
What?
Sorry, sir, but Astro just called me. He doesn't know where Tom is either.
I gave him strict orders to go to his quarters and rest. He isn't there.
Last I saw of him was about 10 minutes ago. He told me to cut my rocket power and drift next to the Taurus.
That's just about when I saw him. He told me he was going for a walk and great jump in Jupiter.
What's the matter, Manning?
Wait a minute. I've got a hunch that joker took a real walk for himself. Yeah, look out the viewport, Dr. Lee.
You don't mean that.
Look.
There he is, in a spacesuit, using his oxygen bottles to blast over to the Taurus.
That's my medical kit he's carrying.
Yeah, he's trying to get the serum to those kids.
Young idiot. In his condition, he'll never make it. He'll black out and go drifting off into space.
He'd better not, sir. If he does, we'll never be able to get him back.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Spaceman, being a cadet at Space Academy is a lot like going to any school. The cadets have to study and pass tests just like anybody else. Space cadets have physical training classes, too, just like you do. That's why you can learn a lot from them. Things to help you do a better job at school yourself. Now, breakfast is something a good space cadet makes sure he never misses. And you can just bet Kellogg's Pep is on that breakfast table every morning. Kellogg's Pep gives space cadets a supply of energy food to help them do their best in the morning. And Pep can do the same thing for you. You can work better, play better, and feel better if you put a bowl full of Kellogg's Pep under your belt every morning. Pep gives you essential vitamins, too. Vitamins you need to help you keep fit. Why, you get vitamin B1 and a whole day's supply of vitamin D in every single bowlful. That makes a difference, whatever you're doing. So, take a tip from the Space Cadets. Start your day the spaceman's way. Help yourself to the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Locating the missing rocket cruiser Taurus, the Space Cadets are seemingly unable to help the children trapped aboard because of the damage to their ship's power system. However, Tom, in a desperate effort to make up for his error, is blasting across the void separating the two ships in his spacesuit. While on the radar bridge of the Polaris, Roger calls him frantically.
Hey, Tom. Tom, come in. Answer me, will you?
Stop yelling, Roger. I hear you.
Then come on back here before you kill yourself.
Nothing doing. I'm almost aboard the Taurus now.
Tom, you're space happy.
Will you test your tubes? I'm busy.
But suppose you pass out again.
I'll have to take that chance. I've got to get this serum to those kids.
We can do that, Tom, Astro and me.
Look, will you close your face? I haven't time to argue with you. Besides, you're wasting power.
Let me talk to him, Manning. Hello, Corbett. This is Dr. Lee.
Oh, yes, sir.
As your superior officer, I'm ordering you back to the Polaris. Hello, Corbett. You hear me? Acknowledge. Corbett, come in.
Great galaxy, I knew it. He passed out.
Did he? Can you see him?
No, he's behind the Taurus now.
Well, there's nothing we can do now to help him. We'll just have to wait and hope for the best.
Roger. Yeah, what's eating you, Astro?
Haven't you heard from Tom yet?
I would have told you if I had.
Well, what are we hanging around here for? Why don't we go after him?
How? We can't open a jet boat lock, or we'd never catch up to him in just a space.
We're not helping him just sitting here.
I rather doubt that Cadet Corbett needs help, Astro.
Huh? What do you mean, Dr. Lee?
Look up the viewport here. There's a light aboard the Taurus.
Jumping Jupiter.
Rocket Cruiser Polaris from Rocket Cruiser Taurus. Come in.
Hey, that's Tom's voice.
Tom, is that you?
Not my ghost, Junior.
But I thought something happened to you. I mean, well, you didn't answer him.
I cut out. I didn't want to acknowledge Dr. Lee's order to come back. Listen, we didn't roll in good shape, aside from being cold and hungry. I inoculated every one of them with a serum.
You did? What about the crew?
Oh, pretty sick. They caught the Titan disease all right, but they had the foresight to close off all the hatches. They quarantined themselves so the kids wouldn't get it. I've inoculated them, too.
Good work, Tom.
Now, I think we'd better get them to Marsport as fast as we can. If one of you characters will pop on a spacesuit and help me, we can get this ship underway.
Good idea, Tom. I'll keep Astro here on the Polaris with me. Dr. Lee can help you.
Okay. If you think the old pill pusher knows enough about rockets.
I'll answer that, man.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Corbett. This is Dr. Lee.
Doctor. Yes, sir.
For your information, this pill pusher is as good a rocket man as you are a doctor.
Yes, sir.
And in view of your actions and their end result, I suggest
Yes, sir.
we ignore the entire affair. Just be thankful Captain Strong is still asleep.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I'll join you in 5 minutes, Corbett, and I'll show you how a pill pusher can push a rocket.
Right, sir.
And here you are, Manning. Take over. I'll see you back on Earth.
Oh, brother, you really got out of that one easy, Tom.
I'll say, he isn't a bad guy at all. Too bad he isn't 20 years younger. He'd make a swell space cadet.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris trails a stolen cargo through the void and are victims of a double cross in space. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin, Al Markham, Edward Bryce, and Louis Van Rooten. Today's program was written by Hal Rine, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are at the end of a journey you've committed murder to make. A barren wasteland of India, silent, desolate, where there is a cave and a carved image of the goddess Kali, whose heart is a ruby big as a grenade, and which is guarded by a smiling old man from whom there is no escape.
Listen now as Escape brings you Ross Murray's story, The Heart of Kali.
It's been a long time. Exactly how long, I don't know. The years pile up and it's hard to remember. But the beginning is easy. The beginning was a bar on the San Francisco waterfront early in 1946. Anton Korchak, owner of the Sea Nest, had put a new bartender on, and I waited a week before I made my pitch. It got a reaction. Funny way?
Kills me.
Well, I'm telling you it's true.
Kid, if I believed every story about an idol with a ruby for a heart, I'd think I'm out of my mind.
Now listen, all I need's a few $100.
Oh, you listen. Every waterfront bum comes in here has got a dream to hawk. They sell for a beer. You want a few hundred.
Yeah, but it's true, I tell you. This ruby's as big as a hand grenade, and it's there for the taking.
Now, why didn't you take it when you had the chance, Danny?
I had to get out of the cave when I heard my patrol start shooting. What good was a ruby in my pocket and a Jap bullet in my back?
Look, nobody told you to come back to the States when you got mustered out either, did they?
Couldn't help it, Whitey. I got malaria. They shipped me out of India before the war ended.
Well, it was 2 years ago. How do you know the ruby's still there?
I know it is. It's in a temple. All I have to do is... What's the matter?
What do you suppose all them swamis around the temple are going to be doing while you grab the ruby? Clap hands?
Yeah, but the only one near the idol's an old man. He's just sitting there looking at it. Now, Whitey, it's a cinch, honest. Come on, invest $500, get back maybe $100,000.
Beat it, kid. I got work to do.
Whitey.
Me and the sawed-off ball bat, Danny. Now beat it.
Get a light, mister.
Oh, sure, mate. Here you are.
Thanks. You an A.B.?
Me? No, why?
Hey, you're standing in front of the old tub here, and I figured you were maybe looking to be signed on.
No, I wasn't.
She's heading out in a half hour. Stick around. Maybe somebody won't show.
Yeah? Where's she headed for?
Other side of the world. India.
India,
Yeah.
huh? Calcutta?
No, Kanpur.
Where's that?
100 miles east.
Oh. You sure they're signed up full?
Yeah. You want to go?
Yeah, I want to go.
We'll take a passenger.
How much?
100.5.
With grub?
Captain's table for 175. Forecastle grub for 100.5.
Okay. When are you leaving?
Since the first and the engineer come aboard.
When's that?
When they can't afford any more beer.
How much is that in time?
I told you.
You told a stranger, mister. Now maybe you're telling a passenger.
Half an hour the most. Captain don't like to wait.
They won't have to. I'll be back. I started back for the sea nest. Somebody had to listen to me. The ruby, the heart of Kali, it beat inside me like it was my own. I knew I'd do anything to get my hands on it. I'd found a way to get to India. And now all I needed was the money to buy it. It was only a few minutes before closing when I got there. Whitey was mopping up the bar, and the place was empty. Hey, Whitey.
Bar's closed, kid.
I don't want to drink. Come here. Come here. I got something to tell you.
What's on your mind?
Whitey, I can get passage to India. All I need's 150.
Beat it.
Where's Mr. Korchak?
Back room checking receipts. Why? No. You can't go back there, Danny.
Get your hands off. You try to stop me, Whitey, I'll kill you.
Go on in, kid.
Come in.
Can I see you for a minute, Mr. Korchak?
What do you want, Danny?
Look, Mr. Korchak, I'll make it fast. You know about me being in Burma, that ruby I saw there.
My bartender told me.
Well, it's the truth. Whitey knows that I saw it. And
Leaving now, Mr. K. Everything's locked up for the night.
Okay. Good night, Whitey.
Night, Danny.
What do you want from me, Danny?
Listen, Mr. Korchak, all I need's $150. I can get passage to India for that. It's only 150. Now, please, Mr. Korchak,
Don't ask for money, Danny. A beer, maybe, but cash, no.
Mr. Korchak...
Get lost, kid.
But the boat leaves...
I said get lost, kid.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Danny...
Listen to me! And make you rich for a lousy 150.
Get out. Get out of my place. You come in here again, I throw you to the seagulls.
150, Korchak. You're going to give it to me?
Yeah, I guess I got to make you believe me.
You shouldn't have done that, Korchak.
Yeah?
Now, I got to twist this around in you.
You try it, Danny, and you're going to...
You should have given me that dough. It's a lot cheaper than dying.
mister. You're just in time. We're shoving off.
I told you I'd be back, didn't I?
That's what a lot of them say.
Okay, let's go.
Hold on, matey.
What's the matter?
Let's see the color of your money.
Money, yeah. Here.
Got a live one. Must be close to... How much in that bundle?
Look.
Price just went up to 2.5 with folks who'll grub.
Hey, what are you trying to do to me?
That's the price. Take it or no.
Well, let me see the captain.
You're looking at him, boy. I'm the captain. $250.
Okay. $250. Let's go.
Climb aboard. Next stop, Kanpur.
You Mr. Macon?
Yes?
Captain of the Paxton told me to come and see you. Said he could find me a small boat and a guide.
I can. When do you wish these things?
As soon as possible.
Where do you wish to go?
You know where Tinsukia is?
Macon knows India well.
Oh, what's the best way to go?
Your boat will take you north up the Brahmaputra River. Then you will go overland west to Tinsukia.
Yeah, how long will that take?
I should say 2 weeks.
Okay, let's get going.
All charges are in advance.
How much?
$500 American.
I don't have that much.
How much have you?
$300.
Please, do not lie to me.
300.
Captain Evans of the Paxton has already notified me that you have at least 400.
I don't.
Then how much?
350. You take it or I shop around.
Be back here tomorrow morning and I will take you to your boat.
And what about my guide?
He will be there.
You better be.
Good day.
I was there the next morning. We went to the boat I'd rented. It wasn't much, but I took it. Subhas, my guide, got her wound up and we started upriver for Tinsukia. Up till the time we left, Macon tried to find out why I wanted to go there. I told him nothing. On the 5th day out of Kanpur, Subhas, who hadn't said a dozen words to me in all that time, came back to the stern of the boat and sat down beside me.
Sahib?
Yeah?
Why are you making this trip?
Macon asked you to find out?
No, Sahib, I ask for myself.
Why?
Because I do not wish evil to happen to you.
Thanks.
But it will happen to you.
How do you know?
Makan wishes it so.
Why?
He says you have much gold buried near Tinsukia.
He's crazy.
Is he?
Yep.
Then why did he instruct me to kill you when you find it?
What?
The truth, Sahib, I am to kill you when you find the gold.
Subhas, let me tell you something. I'm not looking for gold.
Oh, I'm glad you are not looking for gold. I would not like to kill you.
Subhas.
Yes, Sahib, Gandhi.
How much longer?
Oh, we will down the river 2 more days, and we will go on land to Tinsukia.
Well, I don't want to go to Tinsukia.
Well, where?
I want to go 10 miles or so northwest.
Oh, what is there?
Well, there was a big army camp there during the war. You remember?
Oh, yes, I was the guide then, too.
Well, you take me there, huh?
Yes.
It was after my outfit came over the Pangsop Pass out of Burma that I found the Temple of Kali. Then we'd moved on to Tinsukia. All I wanted was to get to the site of the old army camp. I could make it from there on my own. But the closer I got to the heart of Kali, the crazier I got. Nothing mattered anymore, what I had to do or who I had to kill to get what I wanted. We finished the trip upriver and started overland. It was rough, jungle and rain, the old malaria kicking it up. 5 days later, we were on the site of the old army camp. This is far enough, Subhas.
But there's nothing here.
There's enough. This is as far as we're going.
Then we shall rest before we return.
I'm not going back.
Then what are we...
I got to do the rest of this alone, Subhas.
You have no need for the gun. I know nothing of what you do.
No, but you would if you stayed with me any longer.
But I don't know.
I left him there, and I walked on for another half a day, and then just as I'd remembered it, a cave opening almost hidden by scrub on the far side of a small clearing. I went in, and I saw it again. At the far end of the cave, the idol, Kali. And in the flickering light of the lamp, its heart. I moved closer to it. And then I saw him, the same little old man I'd seen 2 years before, in that same attitude of prayer. I moved again, and he sat there, hardly seeming to breathe. And then I was ready. I ran toward the idol, my hands reaching for the ruby. And then the ground opened beneath me, and I fell. 1,000 hands clawed at me, held me, struck at me. And above, the heart of Kali shone scarlet. I don't know how long I fought them, but the time came when I couldn't fight anymore. And so I quit and let whatever it was drift over me. When I came to, he was standing at the foot of the straw pallet I was on. He was tall, gaunt, dressed in the ceremonial robe that reached to the floor.
I am Adram, the elder sannyasi of the Temple of Kali. And your name is Daniel Karlin, I believe.
Yeah, how do you know mine?
Your wallet, your papers of identification, your money, they are all there beside you.
Look, about that ruby.
There is no need for you to explain, Mr. Karlin. I am aware of your emotion concerning the ruby. Our emotion, on the other hand, the emotion of my people, has its roots in religious beliefs, in the beauty of life.
Get to the point.
The point?
Yeah, stop playing cat and mouse with me. If you're going to kill me, do it. Get it over with. If it's torture you got in mind, then you shouldn't have let me live. Because I'm not having any. Marty! Selah! Listen, you kill me if you want, but no torture. You kill me, but kill me fast.
Oh, no, my friend. We will do you no further harm. There will be no more violence done. Release him.
What are you going to do to me?
We wish to honor you.
You what?
I said you are to be honored. Listen, there is already music that you are here. And tonight we have a Bata feast, the feast of the reward, and you will be the honored guest at that feast.
But why reward me?
To prove to you that we have no hatred for him who desires the heart of Kali.
What is the reward?
You will know at the moment of bestowal.
Reward? Something I can take with me when I leave?
The emotion again concerning the ruby.
You just said you don't hate me for it.
No. Come, I will show you the place of the feast. This is the feasting hall where you will be the honored guest tonight.
Adram.
Yes.
How do I know for sure that I won't end up on that altar there? With one of your people standing over me, ready to start butchering?
You have my word.
How do I know that's enough?
Why do you torment yourself, my friend? Had I wished it, you could have been a sacrificial lamb long before this.
I want to see the old man that sits in front of the idol.
You will see him tonight.
Hey, who is he in this setup?
You will know tonight. Now, I think you had better go back to your room, lie down, and wait.
No.
Are you afraid?
Yeah, I am.
Believe me when I say your life is precious to us now. Doubt that. Do not. I speak the truth.
That's the trouble. I get the feeling I'd be better off if you lied to me.
Go. Rest for the feast.
I went back to my straw mat and I laid down. But the fear wouldn't go. There was a catch in this whole operation. I couldn't nail it down. Adram was convincing, but I'd heard too much about the followers of Kali to believe him. His attitude of nonviolence had a false spot somewhere. I couldn't find it. I knew that I had to get out of the temple before the feast started, but there was only one way in or out, and that was through the cave and over the trap door in front of the idol. Someone had to trick the door physically before it could fall open. I decided to make my exit look legitimate by taking somebody with me. Pani, Adram's assistant, was standing guard outside my cubicle. I picked him. Pani, come here. Come here, quick.
What is it? What is wrong?
Come here. Look, help me up. It's my back.
The fall. Perhaps the fall could have twisted.
Move, I'll break your... No! Once more, I'll kill you. No. Where'd they put my gun when they brought me here? Oh, where? Where?
It is here in this room.
Huh?
In the pack you wore when you arrived. It is there in the corner.
Okay. Move. What do you know?
What are you going to do?
I'm leaving. You're going with me for a while for insurance.
Very well.
Aren't you going to give me any argument?
It is the wish of Adram that I do your bidding.
Okay. No, wait a minute.
Have you changed your mind?
No, I'm just going to check this gun. You're too happy about this whole thing. Clip's still full. I thought maybe you... No, he's right about this whole setup. Let's get going.
But Adram...
Just in case you don't know it, this 45 can put a hole in you as big as a fist. Now move. Where are we now?
We are behind the idol.
Wait a minute. What about the old man?
He will not speak to us nor attempt to stop us.
How do you know?
I know.
Okay. Well, let's move. Remember, if that trap door opens, you get dead. So no signals, huh?
No.
Wait a minute.
What is wrong?
As long as I'm getting out like this, I might as well get what I came for.
The heart of Kali?
Yeah. Now, back toward it. I got it. Now, start walking. Like you're leading me out. I'll kill you if you hesitate for a second. You understand?
I understand.
And then get going.
My friend, the butter feast is almost at an end, and yet not one morsel of food has passed your lips.
I'm not hungry.
Are you afraid you will be poisoned?
Yeah.
I will be your taster if you wish.
Adram, why didn't you kill me for trying to escape?
Because your attempt was a normal reaction. You harmed no one.
Oh, but I tried.
But you had provocation. Man always lashes out at the unknown. It is to be expected.
Yeah, but I had that trap door open as soon as Pani stepped off it. Who knew that I wasn't supposed to leave?
The old man who sits near the idol.
But I looked at him as I passed by. He just sits there. Looks at the idol. He doesn't seem to know what's going on around him.
He is aware of only two things in life. The heart of Kali and the Bata feast. He knew of the feast, and he knew that if you left, there would be none. Therefore, you are the only excuse for living that he has.
Still don't understand.
You will. The music has ended. Now, The ceremony of the reward will begin.
Adram,
Set your mind at ease, my friend. No physical violence will be inflicted upon you.
But Adram, I have a question.
What is it, my friend?
Has anybody else ever tried to steal the ruby?
That is an intelligent question.
Yeah.
I will answer it when the time comes.
Why not answer it now?
I will answer it in a moment. Remember what I once said to you. Your life is precious to us. Advance, guardian of the heart of Kali.
The little old man.
You asked before whether anyone else had tried to steal the heart of Kali. The answer, my friend, is yes. Almost 45 years ago, it was attempted. At that time, we also had a Bata feast, the feast of the reward.
Adram, listen to me.
And in keeping with the laws of the temple, the thief received the reward which he now entrusts to you, the right to possess the heart which he so desired.
No, I don't want it.
For 40 years, the old man has been guardian of the heart. For 40 years, he has waited for one to love the heart as he did. Now, he will surrender it to you.
No, I don't want...
We greet you, guardian of the heart. From this day to the next feast of the reward, may you be close to and love that heart which shall be before you. Hail, the new guardian.
How long ago was that? How many years? How many lifetimes? I don't even look at the ruby anymore. All I know is I've got my hand on the trapdoor switch, and somebody has to walk across it someday. Why not you? Oh, that ruby, that red heart, it's yours. It's as big as a grenade, and it's yours. Take it. Come and take it. Please. Please, somebody, come and get me. Please.
Under the direction of David Friedkin and Morton Fine, Escape has brought you The Heart of Kali, a story by Ross Murray. Featured in the cast were Paul Richards and Edgar Barrier. Also heard were Jack Crucian, Clayton Post, Lou Merrill, Herb Butterfield, Lou Krugman, and Paul Freese. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week. That's right, Gunsmoke. Now a word from William Conrad, who many of you know as Marshal Matt Dillon of Dodge City.
Thank you, George. You know, today marks the last of the current series of escape programs, and I know you will miss it as much as I shall. However, I would like to think that all of you who have listened to Escape these many months will now be able to take your pleasure in listening to Gunsmoke. Yes, starting next week, Gunsmoke will come to you on a new day at a new time. Chester, Doc, Kitty, and I, together with all of our strong-minded, brawling, hard-living citizens of Dodge, will come to you next Saturday, October the 2nd. So, goodbye for Escape. And we hope you'll all tune in to your local CBS radio station next Saturday, October 2nd, for Gunsmoke. Until then, thank you, and good night.
Thank you, Bill. Stay tuned now for Night Watch, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. Meet Corliss Archer for Monday Night Merriment on the CBS Radio Network.
Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy have joined airlocks with a spaceship in which two criminals are holding Carol captive. Although the outlaws have meekly surrendered over the spaceophone, Buzz is still wary.
I'm going to open the inner hatch, Happy. Have your ray gun ready.
Yes, sir. You got us, Commander, with our hands up.
Keep them that way.
You can put those guns away, because you can't see.
Happy, the lights.
They're blinding, Commander. Well, let them have it, Rambo. They can't see. They're helpless.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol adventure, the Cosmic Ray Detector. Gang, it's terrific. It's sensational. It's new, different, thrilling. It'll pop your eyes wide open in amazement. It'll have you whistling like you never whistled before. It'll have you yelling with excitement because, gang, this is it. The swellest regulation Space Patrol equipment you ever had the chance to own. I'm speaking of the Space Patrol Pocket Projectoscope. What does it look like? What does it do? How can you get it? Well, gang, I have the answers. It's a model of Buzz Corey's rocket ship Terra 5. It's 6 inches long. It has 4 big tail fins. It has a 1-inch radar antenna. It's made of beautiful blue and yellow plastic. What does it do? It blinks on and off rapidly. Flash, flash, flash like a real signal light. It throws a steady beam of light like a real flashlight. It shows pictures on the wall like a real film projector. Complete with bulb and battery. Complete with film containing 4 Space Patrol adventures. Now you put this film in your projectoscope, you darken the room, push the radar antenna, and there on the wall you get a picture. To show a whole adventure, slide the film from picture to picture. Loads and loads of fun, and nothing like it ever before. Gang, to get a projectoscope, do this. Buy a box of Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. Then, with your name and address, send 35 cents in coin and a Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, the Cosmic Ray Detector. In Commander Corey's central office at Space Patrol headquarters on Terra, Cadet Happy is checking through a file of search mission reports from the Venus Command as the Secretary General's daughter, Carol, enters.
Hi, Happy.
Oh, hello, Carol. Hey, that's some outfit.
You like it? Dad got it for me especially for this trip to Jupiter.
Hey, it looks great. What time does your ship leave?
In about an hour. I'm going on the SS Space Queen.
Traveling in style, eh?
Well, I wanted to fly my own ship. But Dad talked me into taking the passenger transport. Is the commander around?
Oh, he stepped out about a half hour ago. I don't know when he'll be back.
Gosh, I hope he didn't forget.
Say, that reminds me. He said this folder was for you.
Oh, good. It's the data for my talks at Jupiter University.
What are you going to talk about?
Opportunities for youth in interplanetary government service.
Well, that shouldn't give you any trouble.
I imagine the commander's notes in the Space Patrol will be a big help. Well, I'd better get over to the spaceport and see what's happened to my luggage.
Okay, Carol. Good luck.
Thanks, Happy. Oh, and thank the commander for these notes.
Oh, sure.
How are you doing, Happy?
I'm nearly finished filing the reports. Oh, Carol was just here. She got the notes all right.
Good. You can finish that job later, Happy. We've got to get over to the spaceport.
Something wrong, sir?
Yes, Happy, there is. One of our agents was on his way to the security lab with some of those new cosmic ray detector units. He was waylaid and slugged. The thief got 6 of the units and a copy of the formula.
Fucking rocket.
Our agent got a brief glimpse of the man who slugged him. He's not positive, but he thinks the thief might be Dolph Rambo.
Dolph Rambo? Oh, where have I heard that name before?
Rambo's been questioned a couple of times in the past in regard to some gem swindles. He couldn't make anything stick.
So now he's branching out into cosmic ray detectors, huh?
If it is Rambo who did it, I think we'll try to get the detector units off Terra as quickly as possible. I have an extra detail at the spaceport now. Let's get down there and look around.
Oh, excuse me. Could you tell me where the interplanetary transport ticket office is?
Yes, I'm headed that way myself. Follow me.
Why, thank you.
Got the detectives, Hensley?
Yes. In a jewel case right here in my pocket. No one's watching. Hand it to me. Better be careful, Rambo. The terminal is swarming with space patrol men.
So what? Think you fix the detectives into a necklace the way you planned?
Yes, and it's a beauty. It would take an expert to tell the real gems from the ray detector crystals.
What about the formula?
It's hidden under a false bottom of the jewel case.
Slip it to me. In 10 minutes, I can be aboard the space crew.
I think these space patrol agents are looking for somebody. If they get suspicious, they'll hold the gems for a careful examination.
But they wouldn't hold me, Hensley. I've got those identification papers you fixed for me showing that I'm a representative for Jupiter Gem Importers.
It's too big a risk, Rambo. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone who's getting on the ship was thoroughly searched.
So what are we going to do? Stay here on Terra?
Ah, that's risky, too. Hey, look over there. Isn't that Carol Carlisle, the Secretary General's daughter?
Where?
Over there, checking her luggage.
Yes, it is. Looks like she'll be aboard the Space Queen, too.
Well, now, I doubt very much if her luggage would be saved.
Now, what do you mean?
Just this. You go on ahead. I'll wait here. And as soon as I can, I'll slip the jewel case into one of her suitcases. And after the ship gets to Jupiter, you can steal it back from her.
That's a great idea, Hensley. But watch your step.
Go on now. Get aboard. I'll take another ship to Jupiter and join you there.
Commander, isn't that Carol over there by gate 12?
Yes. Let's go over and say goodbye to her. It'll explain our presence here in case the thief is watching us.
It's about 15 minutes until the Space Queen blasts off.
While we're talking to Carol, we can get a line on the other passengers. Uh-oh. Come this way, Happy. Just saw somebody I'd like to talk to. That fellow with the briefcase.
Who is he, sir?
Rambo. Get on the other side of him in case he tries to make a break. Leaving Terra, Rambo?
Oh, Commander Corey. Yes, Commander. I'm going to Jupiter for the firm.
The firm?
Jupiter Gem Importers. I've been with them for nearly a year now.
I see. I wonder if you'd mind coming with me to the guard office.
Why, is something wrong?
I might ask you a few questions. It'd be less embarrassing in private.
Well, naturally, I have no objections, but the Space Queen is due to blast off in a few minutes.
The ship will be held here until we've finished our checkup. If everything's all right, you'll be aboard, Rambo.
Very well, Commander. I'll come with you.
Would you mind if we examined your luggage?
Certainly not. But, may I ask what you're looking for?
If you have it, you know what I'm looking for. If you don't, it doesn't matter.
Satisfied, Commander?
Well, not quite, Rambo. What did you find out, Happy?
All the luggage has been checked, sir. Nothing.
How about Rambo?
His is okay, too.
All right, Rambo, you can go now.
Well, thank you, Commander. I must say your men have been very thorough.
That's their job. The Space Queen will be blasting off in a few minutes.
Yes. I hope you find what you're after. Whatever that may be.
Well, sir, looks as though we drew a blank on Rambo this time.
Happy, you and I are going to blast off for Jupiter and Terra 5 and see what we can find out about Rambo and his honest business venture.
This is Dolph Rambo on Jupiter calling Burton Hensley aboard private space cruiser J437. Rambo calling Burton Hensley.
Here, go ahead.
Hensley, something's gone wrong.
What do you mean? Where are you?
At the Hotel Juno in Jupiter City.
Did you get the ray detector?
No, they weren't in Carol's suitcase. I checked right after the luggage was taken off the Space Queen.
But they've got to be. Are you sure you picked the right one?
Yes, but they weren't there. The jewel case was gone.
Now listen, don't get panicky. The girl probably has it. Where is she staying?
At the Olympia Hotel.
Well, I'll be landing at Jupiter City in a few minutes. Just sit tight till I get there. We'll search her room.
Suppose she's in it.
Figure some way to get her out for a while. A fake phone call out to do the trick.
Yeah, but what'll I tell her?
Well, that's your problem. After all, it should be simple for an experienced conman like you.
All right, Hensley. I'll think of something.
Happy? Yes, Commander? You want me to take over the controls?
Oh, no, thanks. Space Control is cleared us for landing. I'll bring her in. I just wanted to tell you that our suspicions of Rambo are well-founded.
Oh? You mean he's the one that slugged our agent and took the ray detector?
He might be. At any rate, this gem importing firm he works for has a dubious reputation. Space Control just relayed some information on it. Jupiter Gem Importers is run by a man named Burton Henchley. Henchley blasted off from Terra right after the space clean.
Did they find anything aboard his ship, sir?
No. Henchley was clean. Very likely he was the one who was talking to Rambo at the spaceport.
Well, I wonder why Rambo didn't go with Henchley. If they're both going to Jupiter, they would have saved a fare in the space clean. Well, maybe business is so good they don't have to worry about credits.
Well, it could be that Rambo intends to pick out a future victim among the passengers. After we land in Jupiter City, we'll pay Carol a visit and then check up on our gem expert.
This is Carol's room, Henchley, 1209. Is anybody looking, Rambo?
All clear.
It's locked. We'll have to use the magnet key. In here, quickly. Now, let's get to work. See, we've got about 20 minutes before she realizes that there is no Professor Blackwell who's going to meet her in the Juno Hotel coffee shop.
Pretty good gimmick, wasn't it? When I found out Carol was here to talk at the university, I thought she'd probably fall for something like that.
Yes, very clever. Now, let's see if you're clever enough to find a jewel case.
And that suitcase there on the rack. That's the one it's supposed to be in, isn't it?
Yes, but it's been partly unpacked.
See, like I told you, it isn't here.
She must have found it on the ship. Look, they're on the dressing table.
That it?
Oh, it's the case, but the necklace is gone. She's either wearing it or she had it locked up in a hotel wall.
Now, what are we going to do?
Well, we'll have to wait till she gets back.
But I suppose she's turned the jewels over to the space patrol.
Yes, the formula is still in the cane. Yeah, it's still here. Well, my guess is she's wearing the necklace. After all, she'd never suspect that some of the gems are really ray detector crystals. Wait, what's this?
A spaceogram. Look, she started to send a message and was interrupted. To Secretary General Carlisle, Terra.
It's to her father. Dear Dad, what a wonderful surprise. I found the necklace when I opened the suitcase on the ship. You really shouldn't have. It's all the farther she got.
Oh, my phone call with Professor Blackwell interrupted.
That's a break. Supposing she'd send this spaceogram.
Yeah.
I'll just take this message.
Listen, someone's at the door.
It's probably Carol. We won't get rough unless we have to, but we're going to get her out of here.
Here we are, sir. 1209.
We won't stay very long, Happy. Carol's probably anxious to prepare a speech for the university.
Yeah, and I'm anxious to find out what Rambo and Henchley are up to.
Carol, it's Buzz and Happy.
Well, didn't the clerk tell you that Carol just got back, sir?
Yeah. Well, she's here all right. The doors are ajar.
Well, maybe she's in another part of the suite unpacking.
I don't think she'd mind if we went in. Carol, are you here? Uh-oh.
What's been going on in here? Chairs are upset, and the things on the dressing table are smashed.
Let's look around. Carol? Carol! Well, she's not in here.
Gee, sir, what do you suppose happened?
Carol's been taken away. By the looks of this room, she wasn't very willing to go. Happy, notify Jupiter City Space Patrol. I'll start questioning the hotel staff.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, how's your morning takeoff? Are you blasting off with your jets really roaring? Are you riding your bike like Buzz Corey rides his rocket? I mean with your speedometer smoking like a volcano on Venus. In other words, Space Patrollers, are you supercharged in the morning? Well, here's the way the Commander Corey gets supercharged. He tucks away a power breakfast with Rice Chex or Wheat Chex, the super cereals. Try Rice Chex today. What'll you say? Delicious. And try Wheat Chex today. So swell tasting, you'll eat more and more and more and more. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, the only cereals in the universe with that modern, bite-sized design for easy eating. The only cereals in the universe with a picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside of the package, and the only cereals in the universe with that mysterious magic space picture on the inside of the package. The super cereals that help to supercharge you. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. So, gang, 1, 2, 3. Get ready to blast off to your grocer's forum right after today's Space Patrol adventure. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, the Cosmic Ray Detector. Buzz and Happy are investigating the mysterious disappearance of the Secretary General's daughter, Carol, from her hotel room in Jupiter City. Knowing that Carol's luggage would not be thoroughly searched for the stolen Cosmic Ray Detector crystals, the two thieves, Burton Henchley and Dolph Rambo, had put the crystals in one of Carol's suitcases. They intended to retrieve them before the luggage could be removed from the Jupiter City spaceport to the hotel. But their plan misfired when Carol accidentally discovered the crystals, which the thieves had disguised by working them into an expensive-looking necklace. While Happy examined Carol's hotel room for clues, Commander Corey has finished interrogating the hotel staff.
Find anything, Happy? No, sir. Maybe one of the lab experts could make something out of these smudged fingerprints. I can't.
2 technicians are on their way over now. I finally located a maid that's pretty sure she saw Carol. She was with 2 men. They were going down the rear stairs.
Did she say Carol was struggling?
According to the maid, she didn't appear to be. Of course, they could have held a ray gun on her. The maid thought it was strange they didn't take the elevator.
Well, here's one thing I found. It may not mean much, sir, but it was in the wastebasket. Here it is. It was all wadded up.
A spaceogram. Carol's father.
She must have decided to rewrite it. It isn't finished.
Dearest Dad, I opened my suitcase on the ship to get a book to read, and there was this beautiful necklace. I was so surprised. Necklace?
That could be a motive, all right.
Someone in the ship may have seen it.
Rambo.
Possibly. Rambo doesn't win for strong-arm methods. Besides, taking the necklace would be one thing, but forcing Carol to go with him, that's something else.
Well, maybe she didn't have the necklace with her, and the crook was making her take him to where it was.
But where else would it be? Carol just arrived here. It would be here in a room or in the hotel vault. I'll check with the manager. A phone call, I wonder.
Phone call?
The desk clerk said a Professor Blackwell of the university called Carol shortly after she checked in. She told the clerk she'd be back in an hour, but came back much earlier. Happy, let's get over to headquarters.
Yes, sir.
We'll check with the university on Professor Blackwell, and then I'll space upon the Secretary General for a description of that necklace.
Rambo, I'll let you out here. Go to the spaceport and get clearance for our ship to blast off.
What about Carol?
I'll take care of her. Take her to the lab till I hear from you.
You're going to leave her there till somebody finds her?
No, we'll get her aboard the ship. Once we get her out in space, nobody will find her. And if they do, she won't be able to tell them anything. All right, Rambo. Get out and hurry to the spaceport.
Are you sure you can handle her? And drive, too?
Yeah, if she gives me any trouble, the paralyzer ray will quiet her down. I'll get going.
All right, Henry. I'll call you at the lab.
It's only a few blocks to the jewelry lab, Carol, so don't make it difficult for yourself.
I don't understand why you're forcing me to come with you. You could have tied me up in the hotel room and gotten away with the necklace.
Of course. And within an hour, you have the Space Patrol looking for us.
All right.
Take your hands off that wheel. Stop it! You idiot! You... And now, see what you've done, you... come back here! Get back in this car!
Thanks, why?
Come back here! Come back!
I just checked with the university, sir. There's no Professor Blackwell on the staff, and nobody there knew that Carol had arrived on Jupiter.
Then that call was designed to get Carol out of the room while they searched for the necklace. I talked to the Secretary General. He didn't give Carol that necklace.
Well, then who did?
I don't think it was ever intended that Carol find it. It was smuggled into a suitcase back on Terra.
By Rambo?
Or his partner. They figured that Carol's luggage wouldn't be searched.
Yeah, but it was searched, sir.
It was a clever trick. They simply wanted to get the jewelry through.
Certainly. No one would suspect the Secretary General's daughter of having jewelry that wasn't hers.
But here's the important thing, Happy. Rambo is supposedly a messenger for a legitimate gem importer. Why couldn't he openly carry jewelry?
Hey, that's right, sir.
Unless something else was being passed off as jewelry.
The ray detector crystals.
Right. Perhaps the stolen formula. I'll get it, Hap. Maybe for Captain Raymond. He's using Major Young's office temporarily. Commander Corey here.
Commander, this is Carol.
Carol, where are you?
I'm in the Jupiter Arcade building at Public Communications booth 27.
Are you all right?
Yes. I managed to get away from Rambo and Henchley. They're planning to blast off from Jupiter in Henchley's private cruiser.
Are they at the spaceport now?
Rambo is. Henchley somewhere near. I managed to cause an accident with his surface car.
All right, Carol, you stay right there in the arcade building. Happy and I'll be right over to pick you up. Come on, Happy, let's get going.
Expecting someone, miss?
Finchley.
Don't spread any alarm, Miss Carroll. I got something here that's more painful than a paralyzer ray. Now, quietly to my car. Rambo should have my ship ready by now.
I've looked all over the arcade, Commander. She's not here.
You check the communication booth?
Yes, sir, and the cafe.
Told her to stay right here.
Maybe she saw Hinchley or Rambo.
That's what has me worried.
Oh, but they wouldn't find anything here in this crowd.
If they suspect that Carol called me, they're desperate enough to try anything. Get into our surface car, Happy. We're going to the spaceport.
Well, now you see, Miss Carroll, that break for freedom didn't do you a bit of good.
Yes. We're hundreds of TUs out of Jupiter now.
Where are you taking me?
Well, your part of the trip is just about over. We have to get rid of you. It's regret.
Hensley, look at the rear view scope. Huh? Looks like something's coming after us.
Spaceship. Increase the sensitivity. Let's see if we can identify it.
It's a Space Patrol battle cruiser.
Commander Corey.
Now, I am glad I brought you along. Corey won't dare fire on us now.
Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling Henchley and Rambo aboard private cruiser J437. Commander Corey to Henchley and Rambo.
What are we going to do?
That's Corey's problem. Let him worry about it.
Corey to Henchley and Rambo. I'm right behind you. Stand by to be boarded.
Here, I'll talk to him. Henchley to Corey. Let me give you some advice. Turn around and go back and keep the rest of your space patrol away from us. We got Gerald Carlisle aboard.
I'm giving you a chance to surrender, Henchley. Better play it smart.
Corey, if you come any closer, we're going to push Miss Carlisle out into space without a spacesuit. I thought that would pull you off. Rambo, stop her. She's running back out.
Hey, you come back here.
Rambo, grab her quickly.
I'm warning you, we mean business. Come out of that compartment. Open up, you little fool. Open up or I'll break the door down.
Rambo, did you catch her?
She locked herself in the compartment. What are we going to do now?
The only thing you can do is give up. You can't harm Carol now. Well, what's your answer?
All right, Corey. You win. We'll cut our velocity and stand by to be boarded.
I'm coming up to join airlocks.
Check. Henchley out.
You'd cut off the space phone, Corey. I'd never known we couldn't carry out our threat.
We're not through yet, but I want Corey to think so.
Yeah, but what can we do now?
Listen, get a couple of high-powered Atamo lights. Rig them up so they're focused on the inner head.
Atamo?
Yeah. Stand in front of them. Then when Corey comes through the hatch, step aside. Before he can recover from the glare, we'll take care of him for sure.
Position to join airlocks, Commander.
Stand by with magnetic holding field.
Standing by.
Airlock secured. Apply holding field. All right, Happy. Into the airlock.
Yes, sir. You think they'll try anything, sir?
We're going to be prepared just in case they do. Have your ray gun?
Yes, sir.
All right. Open the outer hatch. Now into their airlock. I'll go first.
You got us, Commander, with our hands up.
Yes. You can put those guns away.
Because you can see.
Happy, the light.
My eyes!
Let them have it, Rambo.
I got the cadet.
Oh, yeah? Where are you, you coward?
Right here.
I can just see where you were so I could get my hands on you.
Where are you, Hap?
Over here, sir.
Then this must be Henchley.
Hang on, Happy, I'm coming. Thanks, sir, but I think this will do it.
Nice going.
Oh, for a while there, I thought they had us.
That was close, all right.
Happy, are you all right?
Yes, Carol, and you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Oh, Commander, here's the necklace. I found it in Hinchley's pocket.
Oh, good. Hang on to it.
Hey, but which ones are the ray detector crystals?
We'll let the lab experts figure it out.
Oh, Wallace, look at the time. How long will it take us to get back to Jupiter?
I don't know exactly. About an hour. Why?
If we don't hurry, I'll be late for my lecture at the university.
Oh, fine. She was pretty nearly thrown out in space, and now she's worried about the lecture.
What's your subject for the lecture, Carol?
Government service. A job with security.
Security, she says.
A preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Hey, gang, imagine the fun of owning a model rocket that shows pictures on the wall. Imagine the fun of owning a rocket you can use as a signal light and also as a flashlight. Well, the new Space Patrol Pocket Projectoscope does all these things. Yes, sir, it's a film projector, signal light, and a flashlight all in one. Nothing like it on the face of the Earth before. It comes with a real strip of film for showing pictures on the wall. And, gang, wait till you see what those pictures are. 4 complete Space Patrol adventures with Buzz Corey and Cadet Happy. Listen to these titles. Space Pirate, Men from Mars, Robot Invasion, Mighty Missile. Don't they sound terrific? You bet. And just think, gang, you can show these complete Space Patrol adventures on your wall. You just slip the film in your projectoscope, darken the room, push the radar antenna, and there on the wall you have it, a real picture. So, gang, don't wait not a single day. Send for this wonderful new Space Patrol Pocket Projectoscope just as soon as you can. Remember, it's a film projector, it's a signal light, it's a flashlight, all in one. A 6-inch blue and yellow plastic model of Buzz Corey's own rocket ship. And it comes to you complete with bulb, battery, and film. To get a projectoscope, buy a box of Rice Chex or Wheat Chex, the cereals that bring you the magic space picture. Then, with your name and address, send 35 cents in coin and a Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good in the USA only, and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are in an underground passage deep beneath Saturn City, attempting to capture a plutonium thief, Victor Drumlin. Drumlin has reversed the atmosphere pumps and is drawing deadly methane gas from Saturn's atmosphere into the lower levels. Protected by a shielded hideout, Drumlin refuses to surrender.
That methane gas isn't going to stop us, Drumlin. We can break that door down before it reaches this level.
That door is built to shield against an explosion, Corey. The kind you're going to hear in a moment.
What does he mean, Commander?
He's bluffing, Happy. Methane isn't explosive.
It is when it's mixed with ordinary air and ignited. Listen!
What's that, Commander? He's turned on the generators, Happy. If he overloads them, he'll ignite the gas and blow up Saturn City.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Secret of Sub-Level 7, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again bring you Space Patrol! Special bulletin for boys and girls in Dayton, Ohio, and Baltimore, Maryland. Buzz Corey's own space battle cruiser, the Ralston Rocket, will be in your area next week. Don't miss it. A Ralston Rocket. Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Bela Kovacs, Ken Mayer, and Virginia Hewitt. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television.